Yo, welcome back to the Shonen Pulse podcast for episode 2. We had some fire chapters this week, but before we get into those, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. Join the discussion and let us know your thoughts on the chapters in the comments below. And as always, there will be timestamps in the description so you don't hit any spoilers on chapters you aren't caught up on. And all of our handles are on screen if you want to go follow us on social media like Twitter. I'm Papa Traffy. And here's my boy Knox.
Yes, sir.
My boy Greek.
Hello, everyone.
And my boy Yato.
Yo, yo, yo.
All right, let's start in order with Chainsaw Man Chapter 178, titled Gun Goddess. Knox, what are your thoughts?
Dude, this chapter is fucking insane. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's just,
To say the least.
Yeah. I think that weren't we like low key, like kind of close to like what ended up being inside of this Statue of Liberty, kind of. In our
it was technically a giant gun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so my theory was that it was going to be like the reforming of the Gun Devil, you know, that we saw in part 1. And I feel like that's kind of close to what's happening here. It's just not the same design.
You did say that that it was just going to be like the Gun Devil. I think we said like final form, like Gun Devil, because it was like incomplete in part 1.
Yeah,
to a certain degree or whatever. And this is basically that, but just not the same design. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it is the final form.
Yeah,
it would be cool if like depending on because remember in part 1 there was like different areas had like of the world, different governments of the world have like had a percentage of that thing's actual body.
Yeah.
And from part 1, I think it was like 20 or 30% of the whole thing. So what if Yoru managed to, after accumulating the original, somehow managed to get like the rest of it that was around, not made up out of her arm, to make that form? And what if Fujimoto decides to make it, okay, depending on how many different versions, how much is used to reform it, it has a different form. And it could be because Yoru was the one summoning it that it ended up getting that form. Why it wasn't the Statue of Liberty, I got no idea. Maybe pieces of it were there.
Because symbolism.
Yeah, so I think in most cases, you know, when you have a universe or something where devils exist, it kind of makes sense that there also would be gods. So this being called the Gun Goddess, I think this is just completely different. Like, this isn't the Gun Devil. This is like its opposite or whatever. Like,
so
the gun.
The thing I just thought about. Okay, the thing I just thought about, because you know the reading devil struck me. The entire beginning of Chainsaw Man Part 2 focused on what devil was it?
The Gun Devil.
No, of Part 2.
Oh, Control.
Justice Devil.
Control. Justice.
And the Justice Devil, as far as I remember, only took the form, or only made contracts with women. And, you know, this has the face of a woman.
Oh,
and it's coming out of the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, shit.
I gotta say, that's a good theory. The issue is that it's kind of already confirmed that thing was killed earlier on.
But nothing ever really...
Remember that caterpillar thing?
Yeah, but...
That ate... they confirmed that it was the Justice Devil.
Yeah, but...
Well, things never, like, are fully dead. You know, we saw the Eternity Devil twice. But yeah, we did... I think we did already see the Justice Devil and know, like, its form or whatever. But, I mean, Gun Goddess, you know, I don't think it's just a chapter name. I think this, and if you look at the picture with the Statue of Liberty, like I'm just noticing it now, but it actually does have little like baby angel wings on his back. So this thing, I think, is actually just different, like a different entity, and maybe it can only be summoned by like a horseman devil, like War. You know, since this is her whole thing. You know, she brings war, and she summoned the Gun Goddess, which is different from the Gun Devil.
Right.
Wow, that actually brings in some weird implications to the series, because we've only seen devils.
Yeah. And it's like, are there other goddesses, and like, do they obey, you know, like, because in this way, the goddess is basically, you know, the devil's pet, or, you know, this is Yoru's Pokemon or her special move or whatever. And it's doing what she commands it to do. And this damage is crazy. Like, did y'all see that video somebody posted on Twitter where they show like the distance that this bullet had to travel to hit Denji? It's like,
I don't think we considered the distance between like this statue and where the story is taking place in Japan in the last episode, because I think that, or maybe we did, but I guess just the conversation about like it potentially being a Gatling gun was just like, okay, so it's a Gatling gun in America, but like we're in Japan right now, so like what would that mean? Like,
and like
what I do like is that that unlike with part 1, where it was just like a giant barrage that swept across the entire planet, just indiscriminately getting other people in the crossfire, this was a controlled singular shot that, while it, obviously it did like get people in that general vicinity, probably if those buildings were not empty, which chances are.
Oh yeah, I guess I forgot the scale of damage in part 1 that the Gun Devil kind of like had with its like.
And that was like 30%,
like,
I think.
Gatling barrage or whatever. It kind of distance kind of seemed to like not matter in part 1.
This is also just a different entity.
Shot this time. It was concentrated on one singular target with one straight beam.
Well, but it hit everything in that.
Yeah. In that general direction, in that general direction, but it was just one singular direction, one singular trajectory, which was also insane.
The Gun Devil spawns and it immediately targets things. It's like everyone born between 1991 and 1992 that are have red hair or their names begin with T. They're shot through the head,
got a bullet through the chest.
It was bad specific. Everyone within 30 miles. It just killed everybody. But this thing came out and aimed directly at Denji, and I mean,
which actually brings up a question. Imagine if the 30% that we had in part 1 just concentrated one singular shot towards Makima. So, based on that, imagine the sheer amount of devastation, or at least how potentially differently part 1 could have played out if it was just one singular concentrated shot instead of just a random barrage within that direction, as like a Gatling barrage. Chances are we might not have gotten the whole Aki thing. His body probably would have been eviscerated.
Yeah, the Gun Devil is just like this. This I just feel like is a completely different entity. Like this thing isn't like because the Gun Devil is on her arm now, so this is a completely different thing, just being all together.
Oh, that's a good point too, right? Because she's got it in a gauntlet form right now.
Yeah, so like this isn't the Gun Devil.
I don't think so either.
There is the possibility that this could also just be an extension of it, because we only saw one general area when she was asking for tank and gun, like one area for each, and I think the pieces of it were kind of split. In part 1, it was stated like the U.S., Russia, and I think Japan.
Yeah, maybe this is just the amount that was in the U.S. or whatever, and it was enough to form this.
So that's what I'm thinking too. It's possible.
I'm going to go on a train of thought here because I do think this is essentially the same entity, but it's not the same creature. Anyone in the comments can correct me on this, but essentially in religious texts, the 4 horsemen are enforcers of heaven, which makes it a bit strange that the 4 horsemen are called devils within Chainsaw Man. But then we get to the point where we see essentially the Gun Devil summoned without War's power, the creator of the Gun Devil, and it is the Gun Devil. It's a weaker, unrefined form. But then you get War summoning it, and now it's the Gun Goddess, kind of reinforcing that, enforcer from heaven.
Sure.
Yeah. So it is the same entity, but because it's War summoning it, it is no longer a devil, it is a goddess, and we're starting to see the opposite end of the spectrum we haven't seen throughout the entire series.
Yeah,
that would be very cool.
Yeah.
So you think this like this finger, what is this, like page 4, after the shot is fired and Yoru goes bang, and then there's this like smoking finger, you think that's coming, like when somebody fires a gun and like a shell flies out or whatever, you think this is like flying out of the gun goddess's rifle or whatever, this like smoking finger?
Yeah, that's the bullet. I do have a complaint about this because I was staring at it. It does kind of confuse people it has the motion lines underneath the finger, right? Which is to indicate that it's traveling at high speeds. But there's no motion lines on the finger itself, which kind of just make the finger look like it's static. And then on top of that, the smoke
You're
around
you're talking about the top panel with the smoke on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's implying, because the motion lines are like, you know, kind of like vertical and like diagonal, I think it implies that it's like falling as if it just jumped out of the clip after being fired.
Yeah, like it just popped out and was like, you know, when normally like, you know, when you fire a gun, the shit like flies up in the air or whatever. That's what I think that is.
Down.
Yeah. That's not an actual projectile.
That's why the motion lines are diagonal and downward, yeah.
I think it's firing more like a missile than a bullet. Because like if you're looking at a bullet, their initial velocity is typically slower, and then they propel like an RPG. So I think it's firing more like a missile, and that's what that's kind of signifying, is it's just kind of falling out, and then it launches in the next panel.
Oh, so I think the shot is complete. I think the shot that's shown in the middle panel, that's zooming to the left with the motion lines like horizontal coming from the right side of the panel with like going through the water and creating like the waves and shit. I think that shot is completely separate from the top panel with the falling smoking finger, because I think that like the falling smoking finger is like the bullet casing is representing like a bullet casing. Yeah. And like the actual bullet is traveling at high speeds across the water and creating that splashing effect in the middle panel.
This is just did it just like fire the bone out of the finger?
Maybe, or just like maybe it's just like, you know, since it took, you know, 240,000 fingers to like summon this thing, maybe this is just one of the fingers, and it's just kind of like it has that many shots or whatever. Like it fires the shot in that middle panel, excuse me, I got hiccups. That middle panel is the like round that's being fired at Denji. But like once that action takes place, a finger is spit out of the gun, you know, like to land on the floor, the waist.
Represent the bullet casing. Yeah.
That's fair. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was.
That's what I'm locked in on. Yeah. I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and then this is just a completely separate projectile. It's crazy that Pochita is even able to respond to this. Like, not like he was able to do anything, but he turned around like to see this thing coming. Like this thing is traveling, bro. He is traveling so fast. Like you gotta like the fact that he can turn around and see this thing is remarkable.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he was really fast from what we've seen previously.
He was insanely
people
fast.
Can even move.
To move this forward a little bit though, what does the reaction from Asa imply for the next chapter? So we know that like when Asa is shell-shocked or scared or whatever, Yoru is unable to take back over. And in this panel, it's showing that Asa is back in charge. And based off of based off of her reaction, she's like, "Oh, that's right. How could I forget? Yoru's a devil." So, if someone goes to attack her, it's just going to be Asa trying to defend herself, but she can't because she's scared.
That's a pretty big deal, yeah. And I saw people make a comparison between this moment and the moment that Sukuna gave like Yuji back his body. In the Shibuya incident arc, after he used like Malevolent Shrine and destroyed the city or whatever, he's like, "Take a good look, kid," and he's just like, "Oh shit, this dude sucks."
Yeah, but I think it still feels kind of like a little different, just because Sukuna is like Sukuna did it to torment Yuji specifically, like he did, but I feel like Yoru doesn't, because she's still kind of childish. I feel like she does like. Her doing this and laughing and stuff, like I think she genuinely thinks it's funny and hilarious, but she also probably doesn't fully grasp like the magnitude of this damage. Yoru does
on a human level, because Asa and Yoru have been getting along pretty well for like the last while, and now this is a reminder to Asa. Oh yeah, I live with a fucking devil in this body. Yeah. Like, and this like is Asa, what they get into. Yeah.
And Yoru's probably gonna be like, what's the big deal? You know, it's just like, I just did a thing. Like, you knew my goal was to kill Chainsaw Man. Why are you mad? It's like, no. I thought we were kind of.
I didn't think we was gonna level a whole fucking city in order to do it. Like, it's people in these buildings, gang.
More than a city, like that shit fired, you know, from across the ocean. Like the head from the Statue of Liberty, you know, the head off the Statue of Liberty fell down and probably crushed hundreds of people. Like this. This is crazy damage, bro. Like people in those buildings and cars, and you know, Chainsaw Man is just gonna get back up in a few seconds.
I didn't know the scale of damage that would be required in order to hurt Chainsaw Man, and I didn't think about like the collateral damage and casualties that could come from the hunting of Chainsaw Man that, Yoru just would not care about, whereas Asa obviously would because, she still has her humanity. So this
And
is just like a stark reminder that you're living with a fucking completely separate entity that does not care about the same things as you.
right,
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
all. I wonder, I forget, I meant to go and reread, but Asa back in the day when she like lost her mom, was that gun? No, I think that was Typhoon Devil. That wasn't
Yeah, it
Gun
was
Devil
Typhoon.
related.
Yeah, Typhoon.
Yeah, because I was gonna say it'd be crazy, like if she knew the Gun Devil was a major deal, but didn't know that Yoru was involved with the Gun Devil, and like she was kind of like, it sucks to help a devil out, but I kind of got to do what I got to do if I want to get my body back. And then, oh shit, no, you're summoning this thing that like killed my family. But the Gun Devil's first appearance, and it's every appearance I feel like has had to be documented. People know and recorded. It probably goes down in history, Gun Devil Day type shit. So still just seeing this happen has to bring back a lot of like past trauma. And I am now wielding the finger, kind of like Sukuna with Yuji. It's like Yuji blamed himself for that shit, so she'll probably blame herself for allowing this and scale of destruction to happen.
Yeah, she's definitely going to get hit by like some PTSD from her mother. And I feel like if this was any other mangaka, we would have a scene where like she's walking through the street and she sees like a little girl with her dead mother, and then it would further reinforce that. I don't think Fujimoto is going to go down that route though. I feel like that's too obvious for him.
Maybe.
True. The guy likes to just throw shit at the wall, and like Yato said last time, just do whatever. Just lay it out on the table.
But
Yeah,
it always feels so controlled though. Like I don't know if throw
Controlled
shit at
chaos.
the wall. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
it's fast
very
paced.
interesting.
Like
Yeah.
honestly, like this shit, where it's going at the end of the chapter, like with what's this devil again? They just
Aging.
used it. Aging devil? Okay, yeah.
Aging
So
devil. Yeah.
aging devil, and it had the contract with the people when it like
This
hurt
is-
Chainsaw Man or whatever. It's like, I'm gonna make sure these kids die or some shit.
Yeah, that's kind of the fucked up part. Keep going.
Yeah, so like fuck.
Sorry.
Nah, I had lost the thought before you said something.
Mm.
Um,
I think
can
it's
pause there.
extremely brutal how like why is it like children gotta die whenever you take a bite of me? Like what's up with that, bro? Is
Well-
it a little too savage?
Well, a lot of devils have the whole like children thing. Like Santa Claus, remember he was like, bring me 6 kids, and then like 5 of them got wiped off to summon everybody to hell or whatever.
Oh
Except-
yeah, that
yeah.
was crazy. I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
that was
Fuck that
fucked up.
Santa Claus guy.
They love
Girl.
wiping kids.
Oh
and
yeah, well,
killing.
it did end up being a girl, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
When it was
yeah.
first introduced, it was like some creepy old man on like a park bench, though.
Yeah.
That's the
Said
scene I
one
remember.
of
Yeah,
the
that
kids.
was-
Said one of the kids was for.
Pleasure.
I'm not
For
gonna say.
pleasure? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dog.
It was kind of like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like Sasori from Naruto, where it was like the main body was a skinny kid and he had
Oh,
that
right.
big puppet body. So Santa Claus was like the Sasori of this universe.
Yeah. But
Well-
back to the end, I'm going towards the aging devil thing. I just, it's we all know that Pochita and Denji aren't like in like full awareness, or at least able to say no to getting the blood of that thing. But in that state, Pochita is going to end up eating that thing, and by doing so, fulfill the contract, getting rid of aging, but also every single bite is going to get rid of God knows how many children.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
Fujimoto's
yeah.
going in a much darker path once more with this. So I don't know what's going to happen now.
We were in a similar place with Makima too. Every time
Yeah.
Makima died, a Japanese citizen was killed to cause her to regenerate. So it's a similar thing. But I
And
mean,
there wasn't any
kids.
specification
But
on the
with this
age of
one, we
that
know
too,
exactly
right?
the main target.
Yeah,
group,
kids.
and it's a bit more fucked up.
I
At
don't
least
For
to me.
sure.
I don't think Pochita will eat it. I just
You never know. You never know.
because
I mean, it should be able to.
Pochita only targets things that are threatening him. It's actively helping him. He's not going to try to attack it.
The
Yeah.
snow devil was something that would have been something that or the ear devil that would have.
It really
yeah, but they
depends
were
because like
attacking him.
It really depends because like
have,
Makima. Back in part 1, Makima said like the devils that call for Chainsaw Man, like he comes to save them, but he also eats them. So like it was weird that he didn't eat Makima and he doesn't eat Yoru, but the way it sounded was like Chainsaw Man will come and fulfill your request. It'll eat the devils that are bothering you, but it will also eat you. So it's like it was just weird. And I always thought that the reason it didn't eat Kobeni was because Kobeni wasn't a devil. Even though she called for his help, she wasn't a devil, so she didn't meet the like specific requirements to get eaten by Chainsaw Man. But
I guess.
I think Makima and Yoru are both unreliable expositioners when it comes to Chainsaw Man. Or, I mean, they like it could all just be a legend, like something they heard. But it also could be true, but since Pochita has been living with and within Denji, he himself has changed. So it's possible he's not the same Chainsaw Man that they knew.
For sure.
Yeah.
He's now got human, interaction and feelings and stuff like that. He knows he probably hadn't had a human host before.
True. I mean, considering how devils are in Chainsaw Man, he would have had to have either died or like how with part 1 was driven to the brink of death, but somehow probably managed to get through one of those doors out of hell to get to Earth.
Yeah,
but even then, it's a big thing because there probably was like an exception, like the first time it would actively like leave and go to the human world.
Am I tripping where like I made a tweet when this chapter first came out and I was like, get up, bro, wipe yourself off. Here's a napkin or something. Like the distance that bullet traveled and the damage that it did to only be like a head and torso, I feel like he still kind of take that bullet, like
he definitely
he lost.
Like he could have very well just turned into mist. As soon as that bullet hit him, just evaporate the entire body.
Yeah, like that shit hit him directly, and he still has a body. And Yoru, like another thing I was kind of confused about is in these pages with Asa and Yoru, where like I guess I think Traffy said it like they changed. Yoru is now not in control of the body, and so like it makes sense. But I was like, why is Asa like in front now? So I guess the ownership of the body has changed.
Yeah, or at least that's what it looks like to me.
Y'all think the fight's gonna like continue in next chapter, or is something gonna happen to like stop it, or Pochita gonna get up and flee, or this thing got more rounds in it? What you think?
I definitely think
if it's got more rounds in it, then Asa would be the one to have to fire them, right?
Yeah, but and I don't think she would.
Yeah.
Probably still go with just close range bang with what she has on her hands. Maybe we'll actually see the tank gauntlet in use.
Yeah, we gotta get that.
I don't think Asa's got it in her to even like keep fighting after something like this. I don't think you show a reaction like that and then just have her like next chapter just start shooting shit.
Fight or flight didn't go. We can get into fight or flight.
Yeah, she's gonna collapse and lock Yoru. Yoru's gonna be locked out of like abilities, so she's not even gonna be able to do anything. And like, what would that even do like to Asa's body, like psychologically? Like if Asa does now have full control and she has this gun and tank gauntlet attached to her body, like before she probably wouldn't have felt it, or maybe what if their memories and stuff are flowing through Asa? I mean, I keep getting the names mixed up. Yeah, Asa, I had it right. What if like the gun devil's like memories are now flowing through Asa's body and she like can see all the damage that it's done over its eternal lifetime and shit?
Ooh, that would be a really interesting thing to explore for Asa's character if they really wanted to go that route. Wow.
Just a lot of trauma, just fucking unlimited voided into her brain. She's just getting filled with all the damage and shit that it's done over however many years that these devils have existed.
And then she's Aaron in the past. These gun devil and tank devil memories are insane. And then Yori's just like, yeah, aren't my children tight as hell?
Yeah.
But man, this chapter was crazy.
Yeah.
Also, we kind of something I do want to mention, and I think we kind of briefly touched on this before we jumped into the podcast, but the way Fujimoto has done like stuff in this chapter and previously in other chapters is conveying the impact of something with no dialogue whatsoever.
Oh yeah.
Straight art.
It's crazy. Chapters like that, you'll have to really focus heavily more on the artwork and how everything's being conveyed, emotion, motion, etc. And I think Fujimoto does a really good job.
I mean, it's
this
chapter
like, with what we got, it was great.
It's kind of comic book 101 to, you know, I think the first goal is to convey as much as you possibly can with the art and have dialogue like kind of just be added on top of that as like an extra layer, you know, to kind of like bring the whole piece together. But a lot of comic book artists, like throughout the history of comic books in general, you know, will agree that you should be trying to, you know, tell as much as you can of the story with the art alone. So, and Fujimoto understands that assignment obviously to a great deal, and a lot of creators, you know, like kind of like fail in that regard and are like overly expository and have like, you know, way too much dialogue and whatnot. But you know, like like this is like 101 shit, like as far as like the history of comic books go. Like you should be trying to do this to your best ability first and foremost.
So on the note of no dialogue, there's one page from this chapter that I just stared at because I was trying to figure out what was going on. And that's the last page where the aging devil says, "Now eat up," and there's just an empty box in the center of the screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, am I tripping, or was that like not like translated dialogue that we're missing, or what?
I was trying to figure that out, or if maybe it's like supposed to say something purposefully, but it doesn't. I think. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's just a mirror. When they first contacted the aging devil, it was through mirrors, and it was kind of like sitting on a chair, and it was looking through mirrors, and it like attacked Denji through a mirror.
No, I think it's just
right. I think it's just a mirror, and like these kids are walking down the hall.
Where is the reflection? Oh,
so the next
panel.
Yeah, it's looking through there. Yeah, so like at first you just see the blank mirror, and now it's like so it's like, hey, here are the kids that are gonna die. You know, in my mirror where I got a front row seat to these kids about to die in this mirror or whatever. So it's like a TV screen.
The bar in the middle of the screen completely separated the panels in my brain.
Oh, you talking about the gutter?
Yeah.
Imagine if, like, let's say Pochita starts eating it. What if doing so somehow, some way, like, snaps Denji back into focus, and maybe he gets control, at least partially, over this transformation, and maybe ends up ending the fight?
Or then the arc is over, right?
Yeah. Or we end up and this is copium once more. What if, in this instance, Nayuta shows up, revealing she's not actually dead, and ends up using her commands to basically stop Chainsaw Man?
I would love to hear the explanation as to how she's not actually dead then, because her head
was a fake head
on a dinner plate. Yeah, maybe it's
probably a fake head, because everyone kept saying her trademark mole isn't there for the first time in the entire series.
So I mean, I don't know, like when Makima was killed, like she kind of regenerated pretty quick into this like 6-year-old kid. We don't know how many, like if there were days or hours or whatever that went
for
that.
In that
like,
instance,
you mean reincarnated? I was like
regenerated. She was reincarnated.
Reincarnated.
The issue with if Nayuta was actually killed, the issue would be if she also retained the Makima contract even upon reincarnation.
Yeah,
which I don't think would be the case.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's why I'm like, she's not actually dead. It was a fake death to motivate Denji, because I don't think Fami, because it seems like was working with that whole Chainsaw Man church thing. I don't think she would actively want to kill her Nayuta, because even she would understand that having control on their side, 3 out of the 4 horsemen to take on Death would be much better, even if they are doing this to power up Chainsaw Man and War.
So I think no matter what, like if they just gave blood to Nayuta's head, like she would come back. Like I think devils just always kind of regenerate due to blood. And like Makima's case was that she kept getting killed, like due to being eaten by Denji, and it was just like, all right, fuck it. I think she eventually just gave up, and that's what caused her to finally die and then be reincarnated. Like if she wanted to, she probably could have just kept, forcing regeneration until every citizen in Japan was dead. But
I think it's because like what Denji did was like a loophole in her contract, because I think
that's what it felt like to me.
Hostile intent or killing. What Denji did was like his act of love, like.
But citizens were still dying. Kishibe came and was like, Kishibe came and were like people. Kishibe came and told him like people are dying every day. Like we got to get this shit over with. And he was like eating all the food. I think she was still.
Was it?
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
it was until
Was
he
it?
finished eating all of her
Maybe.
that people were
Maybe.
going to keep dying.
Maybe. Like I guess maybe
That's
maybe the
possible.
body parts that were still
Yeah.
like uneaten
We have to go
were
back
like
and
trying to
check.
regenerate. Yeah.
I think I definitely do agree that it's because of some kind of like loophole in the power system, that the method that, you know, her body was kind of like broken down and destroyed kind of like ignored certain parts of the contract as far as like how they would normally work if you just like shot her in the head or stabbed her in the heart or something like that. It's like a, you know, if you did just shoot her in the head, boom, a citizen dies and she's right back up, you know, but
Yeah.
because he like cooked her and then ate her slowly over time and there was literally no body left, and then that body like, you know, took a new form after being eaten and became like poop or something, that it's just like, you know, a loophole that like kind of like ignored the contract to a certain degree. But
Maybe.
So what do y'all think? You know, in the end, assuming like let's say like this is the final chapter of this actual fight for some reason, how do you think this, you know, how do you think Yoru is like stopped from like, do you think just Asa's consciousness and like her fear is what stops Yoru from continuing, or maybe Denji gets up and bounces, or Pachita gets up and bounces? What do you think as far as like how do we end this? What do you think?
yeah, I
Also,
think it's a combination of Asa not being able to continue the fight because of her psychological state, and like
then just snapping
Denji
into it.
potentially like coming back into consciousness in the body as well too. Yeah,
Yeah. Will you,
because I think both happen at the same time even.
that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy. You get shot by this fucking crazy bullet, and then Denji just takes back over. It's like, oh man, that was a crazy nap.
Yeah. It's like, all
Will
right,
you,
we're done now. That was kind of crazy.
No, I think he'd actually. I think like last time, I think he would retain the memories as the primal chainsaw man, because I think that's what happened last time.
I got another thought, but I want to know if Traffy has a thought on how this could conclude.
I see this as Yoru, possibly, you know, the psychological state thing, but I think it's going to be a character growth moment for Asa, where she just kind of turns around to Yoru and she's like, no, not anymore. After, you know, seeing what she did. And I think it'll end there with that. I think it's primarily just Asa saying no. My prediction.
Yeah. Before I jump into, you know, what I was going to say, I do want to say last week I was wrong, I guess, because like I was saying, you know, I feel like they're with their bond. I mean, maybe not wrong, but like I think Asa thought they were bonding and probably getting closer. And like earlier, I was saying maybe Yoru doesn't realize this is the worst thing to ever happen. And so like, you know, I feel like Asa was kind of feeling sorry for her for a little bit when she was like, yeah, I'm going to use my kids. But then she sees what her kids can do. And it's like, nah, bro, this is too much. I can't let you be free. Like I'm terrified of you. And she was already like afraid. Remember, there was a point where Asa was like, I'm scared of you. And you know, it was causing trouble. But the thing that I think like it probably won't happen, but Fami might step in, because you know how many fucking bakeries got destroyed in this damage, bro. She could be like, yo, like you are wilding right now.
Yeah,
you blew up a lot of pizza places.
Yeah, you fucking the food up now. I gotta get involved. Hold on.
And last time Fami got involved, she completely suppressed Yoru. Like, remember they were in the aquarium and, you know, Yoru was trying to talk. Asa was like, shut up. I mean, not Asa, but Fami kind of shut her up, and she's like, where's she going? Famin's like, you know, I got rid of her for now. You'll see her later.
Oh,
She
yeah,
completely suppressed Yoru. So like she could pop up and just put her to sleep. Like, all right, that's enough. You know, you did enough for now, and just move the plot forward.
Now I want to see Pestilence, because it's like these horsemen, you know,
we're not going to see that.
Are we not going to see that? Oh, do we have all four?
We already have all four. Yeah, because
wait, hold on. Ray, run them. Okay, so we already saw Pestilence. Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, there's different like
control.
You know, there's
different versions of the horsemen, and we have the one that doesn't include Pestilence. Okay.
Yeah. So we got death. So I mean, this is a lot of death. I do wonder like what's going to cause death to like come out. You know.
Maybe this.
Yeah, this is a pretty good moment. He might pull up like, "Hey, y'all are doing that shit out here right now. I had to be seen."
And she will be majestic.
It's a lot of
probably.
death.
The crazy part about that is this plan is to make, you know, the War Devil and the Chainsaw stronger, but there's so much death happening that of course people are going to fear death even more, which means that all three of them are getting stronger.
Yeah.
So how does that work? you're playing the stupid.
Yeah, devils don't be too smart. Yeah, we can see that with Yoru. She's not too smart.
You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
Yeah,
I guess.
Buildings and spines and fucking family trees.
Right.
Those are broken.
I mean, look, I don't think anybody expected Fami of all characters to be a genius.
Yeah, low-key, this plan is kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like we still haven't seen like the full like extent of exactly what Fami's going for here.
No, we definitely haven't.
Yeah, that seems to be the case.
We haven't seen her do anything anything combat related. It's just been like pulling up and
setting pieces into motion.
Yeah.
We still don't know whose side she's actually on.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like she was on her own. Like she just wants she didn't want the prophecy to happen so that like the world can keep having good food. It sounded like it sounds like a very simple and silly like motive. There could be more to it, but it's just like this world's got fucking pizza, and I can't let you fuckers ruin that. Like
beer shit.
Yeah, we don't got pizza in hell.
I wouldn't put it past Fujimoto to have like an underlying motive beneath that surface level silly original motivation that was presented.
Yeah, it's always a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy chapter.
Very crazy chapter. Very cinematic. This page with the finger pointing at the hole in the building is that's real shit right there.
I immediately made that splash. I immediately made this splash page my phone like lock screen background.
Bro, somebody fucking photoshopped Ace over that shit, and I just
Of course they did. Damn you, internet! You win again.
Yeah, can't go without the donuts. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all I have for Chainsaw Man though. Insane chapter. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't have anything else. What about you, Greek?
I think I'm good. I think you said all I needed to say.
All right, and you, Yato?
Yeah, I'm straight. That was a crazy chapter.
All right. So next up is Centuria, chapter 25, titled Lord of the Sea. And for this chapter, Greek, what's on your mind?
Cthulhu monster and probably a massive thing. Honestly, this chapter went kind of how I expected, minus the ending, because I didn't expect to see that so soon with the sea goddess thing. But what interests me the most was the chapter's beginning, with the future seer seeing some kind of devastating or worse future than what she initially saw. So I'm curious to see what that's going to lead to. My guess is just...
I thought she was just like, oh my god, this guy got folded?
Yeah. Maybe it's like... Maybe it's, I felt like just like once you know what happens at the end, maybe it's like, oh my god, we can't let my boy get beat like this. Like we got to go save my guy. He's an important figure.
I think she's seeing Arcos get fucking destroyed, and she's like, whoa, I was not expecting our boy to get shattered like that.
He could be.
I mean, so that kind of depends on the vision that she sees, because she says, "Are you not worried for those children?" So is she seeing just Arcos getting destroyed, or is she seeing something much more in depth involving everyone else? But then again, how would...
my bad.
Oh, it's all good. How would, the other two kids get involved when they ran off? And Arcos...
So my interpretation of this first page is that she's seeing Arcos lose. And she's like, yo, we need to get over there right now. And the village people are like, nah, we got you in a rope. You're not going anywhere. And she's trying to use, children's safety as a way to convince them to go to the coast anyway.
Yeah.
She's trying to, like, take advantage of their, want to not see children harmed, to let them do what she wants her to do, or what she wants herself to do, because she's like, oh, you're not gonna let me go? Well, don't you care about these children?
Yeah.
Kind of maybe we gotta go then, type shit.
Yeah, but it's kind of weird. Like, I mean, I feel like she really did have a vision, but it's kind of weird that like the chapter starts off with no kind of like, not even a hint at what this vision might be, because I feel like she really had one, but like maybe show us. So the first thing that comes to mind is like this Arcos guy, I think that was his name, right? Arcos is like he's a major player, politically and shit, and like strength wise. It's like we can't let him die, but also it could just be like maybe what she foresaw was this goddess coming to land and attacking people, and it's like we cannot let that shit happen.
Yeah,
true. Because like also there's I believe there's an editor's note or something like that at the very start of the chapter, bottom left of the of the first page, it says Elstree witnessed a terrifying end. So
Yeah.
for all we know, this could end up leading to like a potential future where something happens to Julius.
Julian. Maybe the fight just moves, like the fight just escalates too far. Like kind of maybe it ends up in like a Pochita situation where this goddess thing takes over Julian's body and is like, let me play with this Arcos dude, and it fucking sends tidal waves all over the land and crushes these homes in this village, and everybody here gets wiped out besides people who have powers like this woman and maybe Arcos, but like maybe it just takes the fight way far beyond what anyone could have expected, and it's like, no, this shit is bad. We cannot let this fucking squid thing do what it's gonna do. We got to get there and stop it.
Yeah. Also, I doubt it's an editor even like for that line of dialogue too, because I mean, like, sure, there have been editor's notes at the beginning of chapters, but typically they're at the end. And even if you go like to the last page of of the last chapter, the text for like that superimposed editor's note is like in white brick text, whereas this is like black with like a stroke over it. So I think that this is like coming from the mangaka. Not that it's like a big deal or whatever. I just wanted to say, like, I don't think the editor wrote that.
It's more narration than
it's more narration than like a editor trying to say some hype shit.
Yeah, but I mean, you're great.
Oh yeah, can we please just the crumbling of the smug ass look on Arcos's face?
Beautiful. Love it.
He's unscathed? No, wait. How is he speaking underwater? Why hasn't he
drowned? This is my domain.
He's just like falling apart, and you get that cold ass look from Julian.
Yeah, what's cool to me is that they made a point to like show like Julian kind of like thinking about how the fight is going, and it's like, oh, okay, so he's got like a thin aura of oxygen around him, that he's controlling to like allow him to breathe under here. And then just the utter flex of Julian not only not needing that, but then just able to speak despite not having oxygen around him like through the water. It's just like, I'm better than you on like every level that's, explored in this chapter throughout this fight.
And I love
and also due to the fact that he's blessed by the sea, it shows that even though Orko's going to manipulate the water around it, the sea just cannot affect Julian whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have to do anything.
It reminded me of a scene from like one of the Fast and the Furious movies. I forget which one because there's 20 of them, but like they like chase Dom or something, and he's like, "You think you got me outnumbered, but this is Brazil," and it's like, "You got your gang here, but like this is my land. Like you might control a little part of this, but you were in my whole domain, bro. Like none of the shit you do matters. You were outnumbered at every angle."
It goes back to the conversation we were having like last episode about how like sure Arcos like might be in his element here because of his ability to manipulate the specific element in question, but Julian is the element in question.
Yeah, it's like a whole different thing. I love this shot though, where Julian's like, "You thought you were luring me into a trap." Dude, he's like looking to the side, brushing the like smoke or water off to the side. It's just he is so unfazed and just he does not care. Like this attack did nothing. You thought you were luring me into a trap, huh?
This is
like
one of those moments that if Centuria ever gets animated, that scene will go like triple platinum on Twitter.
Because he's gonna be like walking. He's gonna be like walking through the like water. Arcos is super like confident. I got him.
Muzan walk.
He just fucking wait. What?
The Muzan walk from Demon Slayer.
Oh yeah, he's just. Oh my god, that was like a minute long walk scene. But yeah, I can see him doing that, like walking through all this smoke and rubble and stuff, and then his face just appears. You thought you were luring me into a trap. Arcos, just like we were saying last week, it's like I can't wait to see this reaction to him finding out that he is not in control, and he immediately he's like, "No, I got to get the fuck out of here, bro. Why is he talking? Why is he doing this? This dude is supposed to be normal. He's much stronger." It reminded me of like when I saw Julian like flat, like super speed over to him and then punch him. I was immediately reminded of like Swift Swim from Pokemon, where it's like when they're in the water, they're double speed, but also like mantis shrimps, how they do 20 times damage underwater. It's like this dude is in another realm when he's underwater.
For real though. And I love the huge vortex that Arcos like first sends like the like triple tendril vortex attack at him in the beginning of the chapter. He's like, "Oh, that didn't work. Well, how about this way bigger one then?" And then Julian's just like, "I don't even need to be touched by that, bro. I mean, yeah, it's a big ass attack, but like, it definitely does not need to reach me. So you wasted your efforts."
Something that keeps getting me is like, I don't dislike the series, but I do think that it could be going a little faster. Other than that, like I don't really have much to say. Like I don't know how, but I still just feel like things are taking its time. It don't have to be a bad thing, but I just personally feel like things could be moving a little faster because we spent so much chapters with the like Engvall fighting, and now these guys are fighting, and I feel like it ends on this big cliffhanger, and it's cool, but like I don't know.
I think the saving grace on that criticism for me is that nothing like throughout the course of this conflict or this arc so far like feels redundant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like something new happens in every chapter so far, where we either get new information or we see new capabilities, or whatever, what have you. So I think, but I do see what you mean, that we have spent a decent amount of time in certain parts of the arc or whatever, but I think that the mangaka has like an understanding of that and is making sure that they give us something new every time, so that we don't feel like we're stagnating.
I feel like it's true. I feel like it's got some setup to kind of lead into, like for example when they got out of the forest and you see that like humanoid creature.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that's going to be like the Earth version of the Lord of the Sea, so like the Lord of the Earth or whatever.
Okay.
And I that's cool because maybe they're based off of what we've seen, they're enemies. But how does that go down? Does the Lord of the Earth fight him directly? Does it choose a champion? How does that work?
Yeah,
I was wondering how Arcos got his powers.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. We still don't know.
Unless he was born with it.
Yeah, like was he just kind of like training and he just had a kind of like a knack for it or something? Or
I think we'll find out that like everyone is just chosen in some kind of like
my theory could also
be or something. Yeah.
Something I also think, like, it's there that the king had like some kind of blessing or whatever from like a god or something, and he's lived over 100 years. What if, because the king was blessed, maybe in like a lineage thing, his children could get abilities just from being born because they're his kids, instead of having them make a direct blessing.
Yeah, either that or he's just like, because he was chosen in that way, he then also has the ability to kind of like bestow powers onto anyone that he chooses, and that's part of the blessing that he received. Yeah,
I can see it. Yeah. I can see it also just being like a case where like the goddesses or gods or whatever in this world, like they have the ability to bestow their powers among people. Kind of like I'm thinking of like Death Note, when in Death Note, like in the world of death, they don't like write each other's notes in the notebook because it's boring. But like Ryuk got super bored and was like, let's see what these humans can do. He kind of like dropped his notebook in the human world. So like, what if like this goddess that blessed Julian specifically also blessed Arcos, but by mistake? Maybe it like waved its arm and like a million raindrops went across the planet, and like whoever got hit by them gained a portion of their power, but they specifically gave their power to Julian. And like this guy was also blessed, but like a lesser blessing. Like it doesn't even know, when it sees him, it's like, oh yeah, you want to buy like when you're in the shower and water runs down your head, you want to buy like droplets or whatever. I just flung these water beads across the world and you just happen to get hit. You're not special, you're just lucky. But like Julian was actually somebody who was like intentionally given the power, not like not like I woke up and I got hit by a raindrop and now I'm blessed.
That'd be a really interesting difference to explore, I think.
Yeah, I gotta say,
that delineation. Yeah,
I gotta say, Yato, you come up with some of the wildest, just most detailed scenarios.
Yeah.
I feel like that's my thing. I'll be doing that shit at work, and like people be like, "Where did you get this?" I'm just like, bro, you gotta kind of, I don't know.
It's like hyper specific, but like dummy abstract at the same time. So how do you come up with that on the spot? You're insane.
Another like kind of critique, I guess, is like I hate being a guy that's like I'm the only one with like something bad to say, but like you gotta speak your piece.
Hey, we need one of those guys.
Speak your truth, bro.
Yeah, it's like. Known. I'm still just like last week I talked about the art and I said like Engvall's eye was weird and then like the hands are weird, but in this chapter I got like on this page where the color is like the color title Lord of the Sea or whatever, when Arcos is like charging towards Julian, this shit, like Arcos's face just looks hilarious to me. And it's not that it's bad. It just looks, it reminds me of like Samurai Jack or like cave paintings, like old school,
sure.
a lot of like the cave painting art with the, the cavemen or fucking hieroglyphics and shit. Like they drew these characters and they had like these very samey poses, and they were like all of his body is going to one direction and his face is all on one side. So there's that one.
There's
and
definitely
then
like a certain like flatness to the anatomy a lot of the times. Yeah, like it doesn't feel like they're like referencing like a picture of a person making that pose and then drawing it. It's just like a mental interpretation that feels like it lacks depth.
I think from that image specifically, what looks to be the issue is both arms are roughly the same size.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that just makes it look flat rather than adding.
Yeah, there's no like
the perspective suggests that like there should be a difference in size between them. Yeah, but they're the same size.
Yeah, and like looking at the shading under like Arcos's chin, like it feels like this pose just shouldn't be possible. Like looking at the scars on his neck and then the shading, and then
the
like
longer I look at it, the more I see it.
Yeah, it's like a cave painting, bro. I just feel like I'm looking at caveman art. Not that it's
or
bad,
like hieroglyphics.
It's just like this doesn't like make sense artistically.
It's almost it's almost like this is their style, but it's not a consistent style.
It's not bad either. Like I'm not hating. Like if this is a thing that's consistent, but like it improves and like I don't have complaints, then sure I won't have complaints. But like you go down some more and it's like this cool picture of Julian's kind of the same way, but it's just his face. But then the one under it, the next page, the double page spread where he's punching Arcos, that punch face spread has the same kind of like everything's going to the left, kind of like fucking cave painting like look, like everything is like it looks like a picture, like I drew it.
And it's crazy because like everything else like art wise is like super bussin'. Like we have like really dynamic like action, we have really good camera angles and perspectives chosen, and we have like really good like choreography. But then when it just comes to like anatomy, there's just like this nagging kind of like feeling that like everything is kind of, not everything, but like certain moments are just like awkward because of anatomy, whereas like everything else just feels really, really good. So it's really like, it stands out a lot. Yeah,
the fucking depth perception button just gets turned off for like a page.
True. It could just be also that maybe for certain shots the mangaka maybe just isn't quite sure how to convey it, so they do that. Which but still.
So there's the one page, the first one where I said it looks like caveman art, but after Julian hits him, not the T-pose picture where Julian is like flying at him, but the one under that says like kapow, and then Arcos is like I can't tell what page 13. The one where Arcos is flying back and he's got both his hands forward and it's like ZWR. So that one I feel like looks really good. I feel like the anatomy and the pose is really good there. The arms, you can tell that one of his shoulders is back behind, further back and stuff. That one feels way better than the other pose. It's weird. It's just he needs more references and stuff.
So
basically,
he needs models in the lab with him making these poses. Taking
figurines
photographs of them, and then
So one thing we talked about the last chapter was like, the visibility of their eye markings. Well, one thing I noticed in this chapter is Julian constantly goes back and forth between having the eye markings and not.
Yeah,
and
it kind of implies that he's like activating certain things at certain moments, doesn't it?
Yeah, but then you get to like the very end of the chapter, and when the Lord of the Sea shows up, it's back. So I don't know. I feel like it's like a spidey sense of some sort.
Or maybe
like he senses danger and then it pops up.
It could also be like similar to like in Demon Slayer, the effects or the attacks and stuff like that aren't actually there. They're just used for visual flair to convey impact.
Yeah,
this is probably like
when it's like
the mangaka's way of showcasing that this is Julian and Arcos using their powers to know when they're using their abilities, and that's why they're not bringing up they have the same mark on my face, or it could just be that people that have this power can't see the mark.
Yeah,
that
but
could
then
also be a possibility too.
You get to the end and he's not using a power, but it pops up. It's just the Lord of the Sea. God, I keep saying she. The Lord of the Sea shows up.
It could just be
maybe it's when he like locks in and like concentrates, it manifests.
Yeah.
And,
I was
a thought I just had that I think I just immediately debunked is just what if that's when the thing is looking, like it's when you can see the lines is when this like goddess is like looking through his eye or whatever and can see what he sees, and other times it's kind of like sleep, like Sukuna would sometimes be paying attention to what's going on, and other times he'd be taking a nap. Like maybe this thing is only looking when those lines are present, but I don't think that's the case because the lines are always present for Arcos, and I doubt it would be like paying attention to what he's doing, but not Julian at times. Because I don't think at any point the lines aren't visible on Arcos's face.
Because Arcos's abilities are always active.
True.
In this environment, because he needs to have like the aura of oxygen around him at all times, otherwise he'll drown.
And he's keeping his head attached.
And he's keeping his head attached, exactly. So I think that does actually confirm that it is a a signification of or like a signal that like the powers are being like invoked, or it's like an active, like I'm using my powers now, so here you can see it, type shit.
But then you have Julian deflecting his attack, and he doesn't have the marking on his eye on page 15.
I think that's like a passive thing because he's in his like element, right? Like I think that like none of these attacks like could ever hit him because they're underwater.
That's fair.
Yeah, blessing of the sea.
Okay, you think the sea is just like the sea causing the shots to miss him isn't exactly him doing it. He's just the ocean just does not want to harm Julian.
Exactly. Yep.
I just
said it way better than I did. Yeah.
This series honestly just gives me Percy Jackson vibes. Like I realize it's not the same, but it gives those same vibes.
Sure.
I wonder,
I'm curious to see what the goddess of the sea or whatever that thing is called is going to do now that it's somehow, some way, meet Julius again outside of the area they met in.
I know exactly what he's about to scrunch this nigga Arcos, bro. Like he's about to fucking pop him like a grape with like water pressure or whatever happened to those niggas that tried to go visit the Titanic in that submarine.
It's interesting that he because we still haven't seen Julian do like anything water related, but it's interesting that he goes and says like, I'm not happy about it, but it seems like we got the same ace up our sleeve, and it's like you haven't done anything water related besides not die to water.
Well, the
he
ace
gets
up
a
his
speed
sleeve,
boost.
Yeah, the ace up his sleeve is the fact that because he's in this huge body of water, he's at an insane advantage.
True.
And that's what Arcos's ace up his sleeve was. Is like we're jumping in the ocean now, so there's no way you can beat me because I can manipulate water. And like Julian is like basically saying the same thing. Like while I'm in water, I can't be harmed by you.
That does. Last week I had that question where I was like, "What was the ace up his sleeve?" Because like it started raining right before he said I had an ace up his sleeve, but we didn't know that he saw the ocean. Right. I didn't realize because I thought they were in the woods. I didn't know that he could we can't see what's in his line of sight, so we don't know that he sees the ocean. I thought like the way that chapter ended, I thought it just kind of happened upon the edge of the cliff and the ocean was there. I didn't know he could. He saw the ocean and was like, "Hey, there's my trick. I got this thing." So this chapter confirmed it. It was the ocean that was the ace up his sleeve. I do wonder though, like going forward, like after having this battle, because maybe Julian, he grew up a slave and then he got blessed by this power, so he probably never really put forth much thought about what he could do besides like not die. So I wonder if like fighting Arcos is going to teach him something, or maybe he'll take something from this. Like, will he start carrying around like jugs of water and like practicing trying to like use water in the same way that Arcos does? Like, is he gonna become a water bender now that he?
I really
knows
don't think he can.
Thing?
I think the ocean just protects him when he's in it, and his power set is like what we've seen so far. I don't think that he'll adopt.
Because that's what
or anything like that.
Yeah, that's what the sea goddess basically said, like, the strength of these 100 slaves in the 100 lives. And that was just his base powers, but like the ocean itself basically
going to hold him down.
Yeah. So
it's interesting.
Side note, on my Gooner shit, why does the Lord of the Sea have some massive titties?
I'm here. I didn't even peep the milkers for real. Hold on.
Yeah, and that head looking like that Dune popcorn bucket. I don't mind.
Why not just stick some in there?
Yeah, let's see it. Let's get busy with them
I
suction cups.
I didn't notice that the first time either. I just looked at it and I was like, wait, hold on a minute.
Wait a minute now.
She got a whole bunch of eyes to see this thing.
Rule 34 needs to do its thing.
Yeah, they finna get tentacly. Yeah. Next chapter gonna be interesting. But like, I guess Julian's whole thing is like, when I'm on land, if you kill me, I'll come back. But if I'm in water, you're not gonna touch me because the water got my back.
Right.
Oh man,
that's just such a cool contrast to kind of present. It's like, yeah, all of your moves are amplified by a billion because you have like this massive body of water and you manipulate water, but like the water doesn't want to hurt me. So what do you do? It's like unstoppable force and it's immovable object, but then I can also just knock you out because I'm strong as shit.
I think it's a really cool first like actual power fight for the series. And I would be interested to see if, you know, Arcos can survive and he becomes a reoccurring rival, because that would be, with their matching skill sets, I feel like that'd be kind of cool. But I also want him to die.
Right. I mean, as long as they don't fight near a huge body of water, because Julian hard counters this nigga.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. Like this story, like I was gonna say, you know, is Julian just gonna jump in the water every time he has a fight? And I mean, I don't think it will. But this story, you know, in the time period and you know the setting that it's in, it's like there are no cars and airplanes. People are traveling, you know, to these islands, and these kingdoms and shit are on islands, and they're taking boats to get there. So the sea is kind of always within, you know, a mile of them. So.
But despite that, I think that like narratively, it's a good decision too, because of like the huge advantage that Julian received in this fight specifically. I think that for stakes, it would be a good idea to not allow him to tap back into, you know, this advantage for a good chunk of time afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, I think that you got to put him in, you know, higher stress situations after this so that we don't just go like, oh, why don't you go jump into the sea again and win this real quick?
Yeah. Yeah, it does make you think, like, what other kind of powers will we see? And, you know, will other characters, like Julian has to get more allies, because I think Engvall's confirmed dead, but, like, who else? I don't imagine we'll just see Julian taking down every opponent that comes into, you know, his path or whatever. Maybe he'll get some other allies who have other powers, and we'll see, like, a wind deity or something. And,
maybe.
you know,
but this shit gave him, like, crazy EXP, though, too. And I feel like we're going to see, like, a completely different Julian after this that's a lot more confident with his power set and a lot more understanding of, like, what his limits are and what his strengths are. And, you know, and he's just going to have, like, a completely different aura to him that is just going to make him, like, a lot bigger of a threat, because like up until this point he was kind of like, oh shit, I'm new to this and what's going on, but like after this it's like, okay, now I know what's going on and these niggas are done for type shit. So
yeah, and he also knows that other people like him exist, you know, like at first it's like, wow, a miracle, I was saved by like a god, you know, this once in a lifetime never happens to anybody. But then he meets Arcos and it's like, whoa, so there's probably other people like me and Arcos, and like clearly they are being like sent to kill me and my family. So like shit's got real now.
Yeah.
That's it for me on this chapter, though. Y'all got anything else?
Yeah,
Knox?
same here. I think I'm good.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. At the time of recording, the new Dandadan chapter has not come out, and we covered last week's episode in episode 1. So for this week, we'll be skipping straight into Gachiakuta chapter 111, titled False Face. Knox. Oh, no, not Knox. Yato. It's Yato's turn. Yato, what are your thoughts on this chapter?
It was a good chapter, man. I was happy to see Rudo, you know, back in the room with Amo. It's fun time with these two. I don't know if before, you know, I thought that there was ever going to be a budding relationship, but this time, you know, I'm kind of feeling like there might be something there with them in the future. And this this picture with Rudo with the flower pot on his head got to trip me out. It was some unexpected comedy, so I was very, very welcoming of that.
I love the really nice sweet moment between them in this chapter, and Rudo being a goof.
Yeah, like the beginning of this chapter is all just like sweet shit between the two of them, and that's great. And then Tamsy's dumbass got to come in and ruin everything.
Bro, fuck Tamsy.
Bro,
fuck
Tamsy. He's gonna get it really bad, and
I can't wait.
I cannot wait. So Yeah, Tamsy, he's gonna get it, bro. Like he shows up and he's like, "Who in the world could have possibly done such a thing?" Like I can't wait to hear that. Like I can't wait to hear that in anime. Like, and then everyone's shocked. Like the things
I
that
want to
he's
do
saying,
a fan dub of this so badly,
bro. When he's like, who locked you up in that place? Amo, my dear. If we have some identifying features, we should be able to get the Hellguard to look for them. Like every time he says something, Rudo's giving him a look. It's not just later in the chapter where Rudo like gives him the obvious like "you full of shit, I'm lying" look, but like there's a couple of times Rudo's looking at him and you could tell Rudo either like knows like you're full of shit or like the thing that you're saying doesn't make sense, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and it feels like Tamsy is like low key, like not only like obviously playing stupid, but like it's like he's trying to confirm certain pieces of information as well.
Yeah.
You know, what I mean?
He's
like at the end of the chapter.
I
like
think that. Well, I was just going to say that like
Okay,
he's obviously, like he's asking these questions not just to be a dick who's like, oh, I wonder who could have done it, but also to be like, what does she remember exactly? Which is cool because it shows that I think he's ready for smoke at any time if the cat gets let out of the bag. You know what I mean? Like, if she were to say, actually, the motherfucker looked a lot like you, like I think he's ready for that at the same time. I don't think he knows that she doesn't remember anything. I think he's like genuinely trying to find out and is ready to square up, like, if shit goes left at any point. I mean, because he even says like at some point in the chapter, I couldn't help but get my guard up when I saw that look in Rudo's eyes. Like, oh shit, does Rudo know? Do I have to throw hands right now? Oh, okay, I guess not. All right, well, we'll keep digging for info and see what these people know. But I think he's ready at all times for them to find out that it's him, and that's just like a really cool, layer added to his character for me.
I do like how he covered his tracks with the pretty cool reveal that there is a fourth Watchmen series item now with that book, and based on the images, it looks like he used that to kind of wipe her memories, or at least selectively wipe her memory of being held captive, of at least his appearance, showcasing why she like actively does not remember anything.
Oh yeah, and he says that makes sense. Is that what you're talking about when he's like,
because it's two panels. It's two panels back to back, so that's what I got from it. But it also shows. But it also kind of shows. Damn, I lost my train of thought.
Uh-oh.
I don't even think I had anything.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I guess the book probably has like some sort of hypnosis effects, so it like he was able to read some sort of spell to her, and it like made her see him as a long-haired woman or something. But like in this, I mean, even in this image where she's like being, where he's like the Watchmen series is super handy. Like the person in that picture doesn't like. I mean, they're not wearing the same clothes as Tamsy, so it's like, is this? Whose perspective is this? Is this Tamsy's or is this Amo's? And if it's Amo's, page 16, where he's like, the Watchmen series is super handy. Music note. It's like that. That's not Tamsy's clothes right there. Like he doesn't wear that. The like symbol on the wrists or whatever, the sleeves.
Good question.
So I wonder,
like, do we ever see his sleeves?
Yeah, they have
like his wrists.
If you go to like page 15, the page like right before it, there's like a whole drawing of like the end of his jacket on his arm.
Yeah, and then when he's like, who in the world could have done such a thing? He's got his hand on his chin. You can see his hand and his wrist.
Yep.
Yeah, and like so two things about that. First, in that picture, his hair is much longer and it's going down around his back and in the front. So it doesn't seem like it's a altering memories kind of thing. I feel like it's like a shape-shifting kind of thing, or maybe a visual perceptive kind of change. But
illusion?
Yeah. One thing I am confused about is I thought they were only supposed to be able to use one item, and I know that the Watchmen series kind of has their own set of rules, which probably affects why he's able to use this and the thread. But I still think, rewriting someone's memories with the thread was kind of a cooler theory. But I concede.
It could still be a thing. Like maybe this is just like an enhancer. Like he could, like the Watchmen series could just be enhancing his base abilities and giving him like the ability to rewrite some of his memories. I mean, there's always hope, baby. That light ain't closed. that light ain't out yet.
Maybe,
But it's it's clear that he has, you know, a fourth Watchmen series item, and it's like, does Zodo not know that this exists? You know, is this is a book, and it's got, you know, if you look at the book, it's got like some of the the cover is like worn down, so maybe he's had this for, you know, years. It's some old relic that was found way long back ago or whatever, and because the gloves and the boots and the jacket, they all look like they're in good condition, but this thing looks like he just dug it up or something.
Yeah.
Also, that could perhaps maybe that was like Canis's journal that we saw in that brief like flashback when we got his like last will and testament when
True.
Rudo caught Kuro, the information broker. And something else that was mentioned in this chapter very quickly was that Tamsi might know what the actual name of the Watchmen series is, because like the Watchmen series' actual name isn't anything so cheesy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he definitely knows way more than what he's letting on. So
For
I'm
sure.
curious to see what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely the first place that my like thought went. But I also thought like of the possibility that he's just like, nah, it can't be that corny. It's got to be something else, but doesn't actually know what it is.
Yeah.
One stupid moment from me on page 17 in the middle. His face, when I first saw it, I was like, why is his face so sharp and long? And then I realized it's his collar like going over the bottom of his face, but it just tripped me out for a minute.
Is that the page with the book on it?
The page after that.
His neck or whatever. Yeah. So I'm thinking, I'm feeling like he might actually know the name. Like he just doesn't say it, but like I'm still holding on to the thought that he's like a super you know, fanboy of this family or whatever, and like maybe he does know the name. And we were talking about last week, we were like, you know, maybe he knows the way or can get up to the surface. I think he you know, I forgot to go back and reread, but like I was saying, the reason they went to go see Amo was because they found out about like some angel that could go like traverse between worlds, and maybe, you know, she saw an angel. Maybe he is the angel that they were, you know, expecting to get information on, but they didn't, because she didn't know that it was fucking Tamsi. So he can go back and forth, and he's got all this knowledge. And maybe like when you're holding like if you're in possession of like a Watchmen series item, that the fucking guardian of the realm doesn't like swat you down like a fly. But I'm thinking he does know the name. My guess was like, I don't know, the fucking Cerebic Regalia or something, you know, something in theme for the character or family name or whatever, but they're just calling it the Watchmen series for some reason.
Yeah.
You know, I actually have a theory with the end of this chapter, with it like basically being like, oh, seems like Rudo knows what's going on with Tamsi. My thing is, who was there with Kuro at the end of that arc? It was Rudo, Engine, and that one supporter. So maybe when they found out this information, those three came up with a plan. And let's say Kuro told them that Tamsi was responsible, but to confirm it, they, after rescuing Amo and depending on how things went, they came up with a plan to try and like corner Tamsi, try and get him to admit things. As Rudo is actively lying about like not knowing who made the chokers and stuff like that.
Yeah, so there's a certain reason why Rudo doesn't trust Tamsi enough to like
tell him anything.
Give this information in the moment, and you know, that could be, you know, because Amo is also present in the scene, and not necessarily because he doesn't trust Tamsi. But yeah, I'm interested, you know, for the writing as to why Rudo is holding back here. If, you know, he's
and I also got
surrounded by allies, you know.
Yeah.
I also got to commend one thing: Rudo's development from up to this recent arc, because based on how it was with Kuro and now with Tamsi, the old Rudo would have just punched first, asked questions later. Like, wouldn't bother if he was told something bad would happen or something happened, like what happened with Rio. He would have just gone up to try and just beat the shit out of Kuro, but he waited and like, if you will go there and apologize to her, I'll let it slide. And right now he's kind of holding himself back for just attacking Tamsi for potentially, based on what Kuro said, doing all this shit to Amo. And doing this shows that he's grown to be a bit more patient and is willing to let things like play forward to confirm things. So Rudo's writing and progression as a character has just been very well done. throughout this entire series up to this point. So I want to see where this ends up leading.
Yeah, there's noticeable growth there for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
oh,
go ahead, Yato.
Sorry, I was just gonna say he doesn't want, he can't let the cat out of the bag, and Samsy just immediately like chokes Amo up, and it's like, you probably should have kept that shit to yourself for like 5 more minutes until we walked out of this hospital room, buddy.
Right.
Yeah, like I'm hoping for an ambush. Maybe the commander of the cleaners would also know of this plan, because he would probably be the best person for like Engine in particular to like tell this potential information for and help set something up, because it's right now it's been abruptly shown so far that the only people in that room are just Tamsi, Amo, and Rudo. And for all we know, there's nobody else outside. So maybe they're trying to set something up for Tamsi to slip up.
Yeah, maybe they'll
or get him in a favorable situation.
So you think that other cleaners are skeptical of him and suspicious of him and think that he's like on some fuck shit then?
Yeah. Or it could just be the commander, Engine, Rudo, and that one supporter, and everybody else is being left in the dark to help sell the ruse.
I can see them going. I can see them going on like a mission or something, and it's like a very odd or like out of place mission. And Sam's just like, "Oh, this is weird. Why are we going here? Didn't we already like clean up everything in this area or whatever?" And they're like, "It's like, yeah, Tamsin, we fucking know." And it's like, "Oh shit, what the fuck?
We just got one more thing to clean up, buddy. It's your ass.
Yeah, we're gonna leave you here in this pile of garbage. It's time to come clean, Tamsi. We know everything."
Yeah. But man, this chapter was great.
Yeah, it's really good. The last thing that I had is just like a small thing where in the art, it's something I've noticed. I mean, now that this chapter has come out, the Kagurabachi has a very specific way of communicating like Rudo's like movements, if that makes sense. Like it's not just his facial expressions, it's not just like the poses that he makes, but like how he moves from moment to moment is something that I feel like is also considered as a way to, kind of communicate Rudo's personality. Because like in the page on page 6, when he like grabs the boots, then there's a panel of him putting the boots on the bed or whatever. And like maybe this isn't, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it like just reminded me of that scene from earlier in the series where he met that candy loving like baby kid with like the sucker or with like the pinky in his mouth, and they like both wanted the candy, and Rudo had it first, and they were like, "Bro, share." And he's like, "Share? All right, bro, here." And then like reluctantly like gave him like the sucker or whatever, and there were just like 2 or 3 panels dedicated to like his body like fucking angrily moving the sucker closer to the kid to give it to him and whatnot. There's just like, I feel like there's a lot of examples like that where Kagurabachi just kind of like, dedicates multiple panels to like show like movement from moment to moment. And I think that does a lot for Rudo's character personality wise. And I just like love that attention to detail from her.
It's a good way to show character acting in a manga, especially. That's really good.
Another thing that I saw on Twitter, I would credit the person that I saw it from if I could remember, but they had like a diagram up regarding character design and how every single character from Gachiakuta has a recognizable silhouette, and that is how you do good character design.
Yeah, 100%. We can like one of the first like major examples of that I want to say in this medium that comes to mind is Akira Toriyama was really good with that, and like really paid attention to that on like a fucking crazy level, as far as like not just like characters that have like really identifiable silhouettes, but also to just make sure that characters are posed in ways that like never like really overlapped. Like if one character was like standing up and looking in a certain direction, another character was always, in a different pose looking in another direction, so that you didn't like, muffle up those poses and didn't have like too many repeating positions in one space and whatnot. Like there's just so much considered in the artwork for Dragon Ball and Arale.
You get to see like different character personalities. Like if Goku and Vegeta are both standing next to each other, like Vegeta most likely has his arms crossed or whatever, that type shit. Pokemon was a big one too with Who's That Pokemon, where they had like the whole segment after commercial breaks where they just show you a silhouette. It's like, that's the Pokemon. Yeah, that was a really good thing. Something else I actually just noticed. I had to go back to last chapter, the comments on it. So last chapter, when they're like showing the flashback and they're leaving Amo's like tower or whatever, it's like I think it's Engine. Yeah, Engine's like that. Amo sure had a powerful spell. And like my first thought was like, did she stink? But like maybe not, because her power was like making like her boots can make sense that then created illusions and made you see things. Like it made Rudo see, the girl and the people from the surface. So like scents are a big thing, but like I was just re-looking at this chapter, and like when Rudo's looking at the boots, I was like, why did he like bump his head and he sniffed the boots?
Yeah,
he's holding.
The smell was so strong that he was like, oh, and then like bumped his head against the shit, and it made the shit fall on him. It's just like, dude, that's so good.
That's
like the boots do stink. Like that's.
I mean, she's been wearing them. I'm pretty sure with no socks, so those things aren't gonna stink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't think she bathed.
I don't think her tower had a shower.
Yeah, this is probably the first shower she's taken in months now that she's here. Yeah.
I know those boots smell like Miyamura.
Yo, get a job. This face to face that they got, it really reminded me of a couple other moments, like Deku looking at Overhaul when they first like encountered, and Deku's like, this little girl doesn't want to go with you, but like Mirio is like, you gotta kind of let this go. Like, we gotta let this little girl go, even though that this dude is the Yakuza boss. You cannot let him know that you're onto him. They kind of got the same like stare down. Rudo's looking at him, and like in his face, it's like, I know what the fuck you did, but I can't say shit. If you come out your mouth crazy though, I'm gonna fucking come across this bed. I'm gonna come across this bed swinging. But bro, it's when we get out of here, bro, let me catch you with the vending machine, dog.
All right. Nox, you got anything else for this chapter?
I'm done. I have nothing.
Greek?
No, I said everything I needed to say, actually.
Yato?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just ready to see where they go next, baby.
Same. All right. So, due to, no Galaxius chapter, we haven't had one in 2 weeks, and Rangers on break week, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do with those two. So we will be going straight into Ichi the Witch, 4th Hunt, or Chapter 4, Natali, the Capital, and I will start this one off because Ichi was working them go-go boots. That man was flipping through the city in high heels without an issue.
Yeah, he's got that shit. He put that shit
on though.
Yeah.
This chapter was good, man. It's still like, relatively like slowed down pacing wise as far as like what you would expect from a brand new series in Shonen Jump. I think that a lot of that, like normally you might think that that's kind of like risky or like a bad thing, but I think that there's like a certain level of grace that, this creative team kind of, I don't want to say is granted, but just like knows they can get away with because, of just the level of quality that we know that they're going to produce, and just like how much clout they kind of have, and like how much the streets kind of like fuck with both of these members of the team and whatnot. I think that it's a good thing personally, because I think that, as we were talking about last episode with like, how much you have to come with like right away in a magazine like Weekly Shonen Jump, or else you might like run the risk of like, not performing well enough to keep your story going. I think that that has kind of man, how do I even like say this? I don't want to say like ruined like the ability to like tell like a slow burn like story like in this magazine that takes a while to build up, on things or whatever, because you're just like so paranoid that your shit's gonna get canceled. So you're like, all right, we got to give an action scene, a crazy villain dialogue, world building, character development, and a sex scene in every chapter, or else we're gonna get fucking axed. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that kind of like affects the overall like potential of what a lot of these stories can do, just because they're that scared of that situation. But it seems like these guys are just like, fuck it, we telling the story we want, and we know y'all not gonna axe us, so you gonna get this at like the proper pace that we know that we can deliver on. And I just think that that feels really good for Ichi.
Definitely feels nice, and seeing it, it's very rare. I feel like we don't often get a slow burn, manga in Weekly Shonen Jump. Things normally kind of just start off with the gun, the the gun has already fired multiple bullets by the time you finish the first chapter. But here it's like we're getting to see the characters and get to know them and see what makes them tick and stuff. Is really cool. And we're finally at this capital, and it took 4 chapters. Not that that's a bad thing, but we get here and it's actually completely different from kind of what we were saying before, where it's like, what if they get to this city and it's all super anti-man and everyone's all pro, women, and men are doing the janitorial stuff. But it's actually like the complete opposite. Women are doing a lot of the handiwork just, with magic tools, and everybody's actually super chill. They're just, hella markets. And there's like, this on page, what is this, like page 2, when Ichi's like, so many people. This girl, like at the bottom, she just looks like your normal, like cute anime girl. She doesn't even look like, a witch, other than the fact that she's holding like a wand. I felt like I was looking at any other manga. It's just like, oh, cute girl. But there's a chick beside her that's, more, magician looking or whatever. But I just like that the town isn't like super stereotypical. It's just a market, and there's magic items being sold, and that's cool. Ichi's seeing something that he isn't used to seeing.
I personally love the magic seminar, because a lot of manga you'll get like just panels that give you exposition, and that's it. It's just text boxes. But they're continuing with Descartes having this Rukia-esque like drawing thing, and it just adds so much life to the exposition.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
It is. And
like, easy to understand.
Like, you look at it and you're like, okay, this is exposition. It's basically just explaining how the Magic Society works. But at the same time, it makes sense because Ichi doesn't understand that. And so it's also decorated by, a cool style. And all of that mixed in just makes it really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Her art style.
I think I saw somebody like even complain on Twitter that this chapter was like kind of like wordy, or I don't remember the exact criticism or whatever. It's just like a Ichi the Witch hater for some reason.
It's not a battle shonen so far, so of course you're gonna hate it.
Yeah, it's just like God, I wish I could remember exactly what they said. But I just remember looking at it and just like getting a furrowed brow and like a scrunched fucking like like lip, and just being like, yeah, we moving on or whatever. But something that I like really appreciate Japan for is because like over in the West you have this old DC Comics editor from the '60s named Mort Weisinger, who like kind of had like this idea that there should be like a text to panel ratio. And in order to like not like put the audience to sleep or whatever, with like too much dialogue on the page, like relative to the action or the art or whatever. I think he said that if you have 6 panels on a page, then you shouldn't have like any more than like 40 words per panel or something like that. And like that sounds like a lot, you know what I mean? And if you like look back at like Silver Age comics, or like the farther back you go, like the more words there are in dialogue bubbles. You know what I mean? And we've kind of like, chilled out on that, like over the decades or whatever of comic book history. But still over in the West, I feel like you still get a lot more like dialogue per page than you do in Japan. But what's so impressive about what the Japanese do is that they kind of like completely shatter that limitation, and, they can say so much, with what they do decide to say without ever coming close to that 40 words per dialogue bubble, like, like the text to panel ratio has just been like solved by Japan, it feels like, in a way that like makes the flow of reading like so much easier in manga than like I feel like it ever has been like over in the West, especially with like superhero cape shit. So I think that I don't know. I think that even if this is like a dialogue heavy like chapter, like it's still like they found like the most efficient route to deliver the information, that it just like doesn't feel overbearing at all or anything like that.
Yeah, and there's a lot going on. Like, even though you have a lot of like things being explained and stuff. Like in this picture, in this panel where the woman is hammering, some iron or something, like behind her, you can see there's a guy carrying like a bag of apples. But then behind that, there's another guy, and he's maybe he was carrying these boxes, and a witch, or witch cadet, the girl with magic, she sees, and it's like, oh, let me help you out, and she lifts these boxes up with magic, and he's like, oh, thanks, Mary. There's a lot going on. It's not just words, in front of like people doing nothing and being boring. There's stuff going on. We're getting to see what everyday life is like for these people. We're getting to see, what type of things are sold. We learn about magic items, and we get to see people using those magic items. And it's a lot is happening. It's not just, word vomit, alphabet soup just being forced down our faces. There's a lot of comedy mixed in, like the magic seminar, and there's a lot of I was gonna say Keirana, my mistake, but Ushizaki has just a lot of character and flair and love behind this art. Like everything with Discaris is just filled with fun. Even Miss Discaris's magic seminar, there's her eyes are above the the dot for the miss. Her eyeballs are above the eye or whatever, and then there's just all these funny and cool and cute pages and images of her and stuff. And I really love how much they're getting to flex the pen with not just the great grand art pieces like the double spreads, but just you can tell they're having a lot of fun with these chibi drawings.
For sure.
So this is a bit of a sidetrack, but what you just said reminded me of something I saw in another video a while ago. But the closest relation I get to that is the video I was watching was in regards to Cyberpunk 2077, which I personally love that game. But they were talking about the way that the characters give dialogue and the way that NPCs work within the world. So whenever you walk up to someone and you talk to them, they don't just stop and look at you and start talking. No, they move around. They're doing stuff. They're carrying on with their life. They're leaning on rails, looking around as they continue to talk, which in most games you walk up and talk to someone and they're just like a Bethesda game. They just stare at you and talk.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of, similar to what you were referring to with while they're giving dialogue, there's so much going on in the background, and it just adds that extra bit of life to the world instead of just focusing on, oh, there's this one conversation happening. The world feels alive.
Yeah. To go a little even further, like that reminded me of a video that I'm going to mention in a second, but on page like page 4, right after the magic seminar, when Discaris and Ichi are walking, it's witch dolls, who's who books, like right behind Discaris and Ichi, like you can even see like the silhouettes of even more people walking. So like that, they could have easily just left that a white background, but they went the extra mile to show that even more people are walking back there. And it reminded me of like an animation video I watched a long time ago where people were comparing like the animation. They were basically saying like the differences between animation and shows that are like drawn very well. And it was like Kill la Kill was a series that they used to say like how good animation is, because while things are happening on screen or characters are talking, like there's stuff happening in the background, like the waterfalls, it's not just a static background. A character isn't like talking or like performing a cool motion in front of like a wall or a mountain that doesn't move. But in Kill la Kill, like the main character will be talking to you, yelling as she's doing all these poses, but in the background you see like another character getting like their pants are getting like chewed on by a dog, and they're running around in circles, and that character is not at all involved in like the conversation or anything, but like they're getting chased. It's just these moments of animation that are just happening. Or I can see that type of thing happening for this series, where it's like hella people walking down the street while we're talking, where it could just be it could just be a scene where they don't draw these people at all, but they did.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And I just had a thought, like going back to what I was talking about a moment about like the text to panel ratio thing that I just like I hate to go like back to it, but like just like a note to like the efficiency of it all is that it feels like there's certain like math like going on like in the minds of some of these like Japanese like authors, where they're trying to find the most efficient route to delivering as much information as they can in the least amount of words possible, but somehow don't sacrifice any of the personality and charm that is also delivered in these dialogues. And that's just like so impressive to me, because it's like, if that really is coming down to like a math that they're doing in their mind, that's just like so much to consider in comic book creation, that it's just like, holy shit, these people are like gods to me, honestly. Because it's like, how do you fucking do that like consistently and on a weekly schedule, like amidst all of the other things you have to consider and like put together to make this, a final product? It's just like mind blowing to me how they're able to do shit like this. Anyway.
Yeah. And so this chapter it doesn't do a lot to build the magic system more, but it does add to it. For example, the magic items, and how it kind of just details how the layout works with magic. So, you know, women have this base input of magic and they can train to use it. But even if you haven't, you know, passed the magic's trial, you can still use magic infused items because you're just imbuing that item with your magic. So it's cool how it develops the system outside of just, you know, having to pass these creatures trials.
Yeah,
What I
it's
like
interesting how. Oh, sorry, Weave. Go ahead.
what I like about the magic items is that this also like allows Ichi to potentially use stuff in like fights or hunts without having to fall back on like let's say Uroro's amplification all the time if he comes across like a relative challenge that he can't just do regular hunting like he did with the Raiko in the last chapter. This gives
Yeah.
more options for him and even the Scaris in the future most likely. So that makes
Yeah.
things a lot more fun.
I'm happy that they're
go for.
maintaining the hunting first aspect
Yeah.
Yeah.
of Ichi's character, despite his, you know, coming into a very huge power system with like a huge advantage and whatnot. But I have to like bring up like this: the average man, no magic power at all. They can't use magic or magic items, and they make a point to say like, you know, in order to use a magic item, you have to pour a little bit of magic into it in order to activate it, which obviously men don't have. So is it literally just because of the condition on defeating Uroro that Ichi now has this aptitude and can pour magic into things because it's coming from Uroro? Am I interpreting that correctly?
I think so.
That
yeah.
might be the case.
I think
Either
it's
that.
no, because the conditions to achieving a magic is you have to have magic aptitude. So essentially it was saying that Ichi had magic aptitude. He was the one rare person that had it
So
going
it's saying
into the
he's
story.
special compared to any other dude in the series and not just, well, because the very unique, specific condition of defeating the magic that he happened to defeat, now
As
he
well
has
as-
that aptitude, or now he
Yes.
has that ability to, you know, take or to manipulate magic in a way that allows him to use it as a, you know, as a woman would or whatever. So it's specifically Ichi and not just like the unique condition of the defeat of Uroro in the first chapter.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because like of how he grew up, he like honed his body and mind through hunting, and I think it's also because like due to that, he's a lot more closer to nature, and based off of how a lot of the magics are, they're like kind of like elements
They're all
of nature
nature-based,
incarnate.
yeah. Yeah,
So
okay,
it kind of
okay.
makes sense why he would be an exception to the rule.
I'm fucking
Due
with
to,
that.
I really hope that is the case. That does seem to be the case based off chapter 1.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good
So-
explanation for why he's special then, you know what I mean? There's a lot. It feels very thorough if that's
It would
the case.
it would be like he has like 1% magic, and you know every other male has 0, but like females just kind of like have 50% just base, but he's just got like a tiny drop, and Uroro boosted the fuck out of that, so now he's
Just
got
enough
like
to
60.
do things,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not at the same like level as your average woman. But he
Yeah.
also has Uroro, which can amplify things, so it kind of like balances it out.
Yeah.
That's tight, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
I like
also
that.
that's also the cool part because like the magic infused items like these boots for example, let's say the normal person could use the boots to jump like 50 meters and then you have Ichi who could use amplification magic to jump like 100 meters. He could use these items and super
Yeah.
boost them.
But
Yeah,
also,
'cause-
he's
Yeah.
just like more physically like
That
you
too.
know like
Yeah.
out here because of his hunting history than like the average person who hasn't spent their entire life in the jungle or whatever. Yeah.
So he's got double amplification then, because like the girl when he's like, wow, these boots are cool. She's like, their leg boosters a normal, you know, woman would normally be able to jump, you know, say 6 feet. But since he's a guy, he has more muscle mass, and since he has amplification magic, that magic is like amplifying. So it's like a double.
Oh, so you think that passively Uroro is also influencing his ability to use these boots on an amplification level, along
Probably,
with the boots'
yeah.
inherent ability to amplify the physical strength of the person wearing them? Okay.
I would say, yeah, he's getting like double boosted.
Interesting.
Speaking of the boots,
It's that.
speaking of the boots,
Huh.
that 2-page spread of just Ichi just going around the entire town in those boots, just jumping around.
Yeah.
That was just freaking beautiful.
Super good.
Yeah, he put that shit on.
Yeah.
I
And it
wonder.
really-
For real.
since we have like now we know how magic tools work. I wonder if like he's probably gonna find like a magic bow, and he's like, hey, where's the arrows? And they're like, men, this is a magic bow. Men can't use it because it requires magic. You could pull an arrow on it if you want, but we don't sell arrows because it's a magic tool. And he's like, oh well, let me try it. And he fires off like a fucking magic arrow, the size of like the gun devil bullet or something, and wipes out half of like a map or something. It'd be crazy if he starts hunting. They did say like you got to kind of refine the magic or whatever. I think after he got Roro or whatever, so maybe he'll learn. He'll start using magic tools to hunt. He'll get a bow, and he's like, oh, I don't have to cut and carve arrows anymore. I could just fire off. I still got my skill, but now I can just infinite arrows this shit with magic.
Yeah,
that'd be dope.
Yeah. One other thing I do want to kind of like give compliments on is, they don't use like traditional witch hats. Like if you look in the very last panel, she has that weird like flower witch hat, and I think that's cool because it adds uniqueness to the character's designs. It goes back to the silhouette thing. You take a full body picture of a character from Ichi the Witch and you make it a silhouette, you're more likely to realize or recognize who it is because of their hat shape.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely going like a kind of an unorthodox route with the witch hat designs. Like she's basically wearing a Bulbasaur on the top of her head. That's fucking sick. I didn't even peep that for real the first time through.
Yeah, it'll probably be a lot of like high-ranking witches have like the special, the special hats or whatever. Because I think Discaris had like the big hat with the like cloak on it or whatever. Remember when she first showed up?
Square on the top.
Yeah, and then this chick has, like you said, the Bulbasaur, but then like the little witches behind her have the basic pointy hat, and then the male girl, which I really like her, the male chick. When the letter first fell and they looked up like, oh shit, somebody dropped the letter, and they saw her riding away, I was like, damn, that's a fat ass person riding that mail truck, but it was actually just the mail bags.
Look, so I was the fat ass there. I thought it was a giant cheeseburger.
Bruh. Oh my god.
Wait, what page?
It's like 7 or so after the boots when the letter falls and then they look up.
Oh,
and,
you see it now. I'm screaming.
I thought it was like a really fat guy a really fat girl riding like a sky bike or something. And then I was like, oh, it's a letter. So at first I was like, Ichi's like, I should return this. This looks important. And I was like, how would he know? Is this a letter? But now that I look at it again, the letter has top secret written on it. So it makes sense that he would like jump up there. But Discaris is like, we'll take it to the organization or whatever, because the mail is linked. But he has no way of knowing that. So he's a guy. He's like, I want to help right now. It was cool.
Discaris' supremacy continues.
Yeah,
she's chapter.
For sure. She hit like the Vulcan death grip on old girl to like knock her out, so she didn't like remember shit or something like that. She was real quick with that. She's like, somebody's seeing something they shouldn't. Bing, 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 bing. All right, moving forward.
Also, go to sleep, kid.
Very quick panel. When Ichi just picks up like a magazine that says like the life of the beautiful dashing Discaris, and it just like has her drawn like the chattest of chads.
This is a JoJo character. Yeah.
Straight out of JoJo's.
We all three said the exact same thing at the exact
That was
same
hilarious.
I'm not even a JoJo nigga like that, and I saw the JoJo in that shit.
Immediately. Yeah, it's definitely got a look to it. But Discaris, man, she's just the best, bro. Like, look at the page, the panel right next to that. She's just like, oh, well, no matter how hard you try, you can't capture the beauty of the real thing.
I love how she rolls with it.
She's just gleaming. Like, even her, like, sword is, like, got, like, dazzled sparkles on it and shit. But then he's not listening. She's got this funny...
He's just
boots. She's like, hey, pay attention to me. I'm doing the narcissist thing. You gotta
yeah, Archie, you're supposed to look at me. I'm beautiful.
We are. Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
I'm gonna call us now. If this series makes when the series makes it past 100 chapters.
Yeah, get those ifs out of here, buddy. We don't do that.
When it gets to 100 chapters, or when it gets an anime. When it gets an anime, I'm calling it right now. Discaris is gonna fully take over the anime community by episode 2.
She's the next Gojo.
She's the next Gojo, 100%. We're already getting fan art of her.
It's about time we got a girl.
Yeah, I made one too.
Unforgivable that redrawing you did of her where you said you can't draw something. I can't believe the
Oh yeah,
betrayal.
he's like, I can't draw titties, so I'm cropping this. I know that your heart shattered into a million pieces.
I was like, what do you mean, no titties?
Like, y'all gonna hate
draw.
this, and then I opened up the fucking thread and saw you right there. Like, how could you do this to me, brother?
Yeah, bro, the betrayal. But yeah, I'm ready, man. And like, I guess pretty soon we're gonna see Discaris kind of show up, because she showed up in the first chapter and she was on business, but like the last 2-3 chapters she's been goofy. So I'm ready for her to show people why she is the top dog. Like it's probably gonna be a while. And there hasn't been any like crazy, like we were saying in the first chapter, there hasn't been like any mention of like a big bad or anything. But I'm ready, man, for the fucking brim hats to pull up or something. Like,
Yeah.
I want to see what's going. Where's the conflict coming from, or is it just because
where's the rival organization? Where's like the disgruntled, like excommunicated, like witch that has a bone to pick with society?
Yeah.
Like we need something like that eventually, and I know they got something shaken for that. But I'm cool with the the slowed down pace, like I was saying before. Like build this world out and give an example of telling a story at the pace that you feel your story deserves, and not the pace that you think you need to to move it in order to not get your shit canceled.
Yeah, because Iruma does the same thing. Iruma has a lot of like fluff and moments mixed in, so it's like you'll get these moments just like Ichi, going through the town, but then you'll see like a character kind of look at them funny, and then they won't show up again for another 30 chapters, and suddenly they're like top dog at this like evil organization that's trying to wipe out society or whatever, but like they won't be in the focus. So we'll get some shit.
Shonen Jump readers would be like, yo, what was up with that look that character gave like 30 chapters ago? How come the story hasn't done anything with that? I feel like this isn't going anywhere. The wheels are spinning. It's just going to get axed, or whatever fucking dumb complaints that people make. That I feel like so many people's perceptions of storytelling that only follow Weekly Shonen Jump are like so damaged by just like the history of the axe in this magazine specifically, that they're just like not able to see like too far in the future as far as potential goes, because they like have this like idea that things need to be answered immediately, or like what have you, because of that axe history. And I feel like it's so damaging to like
TikTok
manga analysis in the West. Yeah,
it's like popcorn. Everybody wants the things they read. They need the information to be given to them. Now it's like Fortnite. You die, you hit the Y button, and you're immediately back in the game. There's no time to think about it. You just right back into it.
You gotta let these plot threads dangle, you know what I'm saying? Like, not everything needs to be answered as soon as questions are presented. Like, let that shit fucking cook, and just like trust these professional authors to know what they're doing with their fucking stories, instead of just assuming that because you haven't got the answer when you think you should have it, that the mangaka is failing in some kind of way. Well,
on top of that, these slice of life moments are so great for character development and just making you enjoy the characters. Like no shade on Jujutsu Kaisen, but we went so long without any kind of like character get together moments, because it was just fight. But you go back to the beginning of the series and we got that. It was just characters getting along, and that is so pleasant for a developing story. And it's understandable we didn't get that at the end, but it's still unfortunate that like as soon as Shibuya hit, it was just go.
The beginning of the story is
we needed like one or two more shorter arcs for that to help build out the characters more.
I think I agree with that, but like the beginning of the story is where you get like the most of that anyway. Especially in these like high action.
True, but you need time to breathe in between the big events. I
agree.
Everything it goes by really quickly.
There's just
also
there's just so much.
The main trio doesn't really. At least this is a me thing. The main trio for JJK doesn't feel too much like a main trio, at least to me, due to how little they all like do shit together. And even by the end, they're not even on a first name basis. Which is kind of crazy considering everything they've been through.
Isn't it like regular for like characters to like go by surname in
they go by surname, but
just like in story.
But going by first name basis with a lot of series shows the closeness of characters.
Sure.
Like with best friends, lifelong friends, people that have been through shit together.
I think a lot of people just don't realize that like at the end of the day, Shonen Jump's a business, so like they have to cut things that don't sell well. But at the same time, like Ichi is kind of out at a perfect time. Like there's cushion if it assuming like let's say Ichi the Witch didn't sell well, there is other things that have come out before it that are like under, around the axe range that would get axed before it. And then there's also the fact that things have ended. So Jujutsu Kaisen is over. My Hero Academia is over. There are things that need, like, there's slots that need to be filled. And so, like, they can't really afford to like tell every new mangaka like, you need to drop the biggest banger the world has ever seen in chapter 1 right now. Like, they kind of gotta let these guys cook. And like, this is a crazy, chef combo. Like, we fucking Aruma, like I was saying, Aruma's like 330 chapters.
Nothing. Sorry.
Just Aruma's long, and fucking Ushizaki's here. It's like you got crazy cook, crazy sous chef, and they're gonna cook. Just let them do it. We're gonna be here for a while, man. I don't see this series ending no time soon.
I think the spot is safe.
Yeah, of course I could eat my words, but I don't think I will. I'm pretty much got my house bet on this one.
So
with how popular it is in Japan, I doubt it won't sell well.
So I don't want anyone jumping on me in the comment section. As I said, that wasn't a slight at Jujutsu Kaisen. And it makes perfect sense that they didn't have that like slice of life moment. Like, it wouldn't make sense for Shibuya to end and then all of a sudden you have an arc where Yuji, Nobara, and Megumi are just eating at a diner. That wouldn't make sense. So I get it.
Well, shit, especially because Nobara was in a fucking coma after that arc. So
yeah, and also just like what I think Knox was saying earlier, the difference between the readers over in the West and the East or whatever. Like, over here, like, we complain about everything. Like, the second we're focused on fights, people are like, I want character development moments. The second we spend a single page on character development, bro, this is boring. Where's the fights? I don't care about your backstory. No one cares. Where is the plot isn't moving, bro. I don't care that you like hamburgers. Like,
it's a combination of we don't know what we want, and we take every opportunity that we can to complain about something that we feel can be complained about.
There's just something that comes, like, people get way too much out of like going on the internet and complaining and having like their feelings validated and people like backing them up. And like, I keep saying like, we need to bring back internet bullying because people get away like there's no consequence to just going on the internet and saying something stupid anymore. Nobody cares.
Everybody wants to be a critic.
I actually showed you guys
when you point out a shortcoming in a series, it makes you feel like you see the series differently than the majority, which makes you feel smarter than the majority, which like adds to your ego, and it's this whole narcissistic blanket over like online discourse that is like a cyclical thing that continues to fuel itself because of like likes and retweets and like other kinds of like dopamine engines that we come to social media for. So like, we were always doomed to become like this cesspool of negativity, in my opinion.
Honestly, like, it does give me slight hope to an extent, because like, you have a show, like, you had an anime like Free Run, and practically almost the entirety of the community like loved it. It's only like the very vocal minority that somehow found like very like nitpicky and like nonsensical issues with it. Like, I showed you guys an art like a massive tweet about somebody complaining about Free Run, and I'm like, this is just brain dead garbage, what you just said. You don't even get what this... Did you even watch the same show?
I'll be honest with you. I read the first 2 sentences and then I was done with that tweet.
The guy called Free Run an isekai. Oh my god.
I have yet to see a good like Free Run like critique on anime Twitter. Like,
and it's still #1 on Mal for like a year.
Anything
beat FMA.
Anything like negative that anyone has said on anime Twitter about Free Run has had just like no like logical basis to it to me. Like,
I mean, look, the best criticism you can give is just like, it just wasn't for me, and just leave it at that. Sure. I don't know why it just didn't click with me, and that's a valid reason.
That's not a criticism. That's just
it's not a criticism. It's just like a personal opinion.
That's just a personal problem.
I can see you saying, like, if somebody says they were bored of it, it's like, okay, it's not an action. It's not going out of its way to like excite you. It's just the things that it does are cool and charming and fun and comfy or whatever. But it's not a Kaisen. There's not fights, and when fights happen, they're not
for the wrong thing at that point.
It's one of those stories where it's like you you might just not be ready for this. Like when you first get into anime, you probably shouldn't, watch a comedy romance, but after you've watched, 30, 40 anime, maybe comedy romance is something that you might be into now. So Free Run's one of those things where it's like
you
it's
just
probably
don't care about character then, because like the character like aspect of Free Run is like very well executed on like
basically the main
storytelling
draw.
level.
Yeah, Free Run might not be good as your personal, you personally, you probably shouldn't watch Free Run as your third or fifth anime, but like after you've watched, 70, Free Run might bust incredibly for your 71st, because now you understand the medium more, you know a lot more about like how anime and characters and stuff in these anime work, and so now these stories, they just hit better at different times. Some people they see something like Ichi and it's like, this shit isn't doing nothing I need, and it's like, come back and when it's got like 60 chapters and after you have read 5 to 10 more things, because this shit might be just what you need after after you've gone and you've exhausted all your Jujutsu Kaisens and your Chainsaw Mans and your Bakis, and you've seen all the punches, and now you need something a little slower.
Yeah, needless to say, Free Run is a bus popper.
Yeah.
And if you disagree, you're an idiot. Moving back into Ichi the Witch.
Ichi the Witch,
For sure.
sorry for that tangent, but a good discussion.
Yeah, I love the male girl. I hope we get to see her more, man. She was fun doing these deliveries, and she's like, "Hey, excuse me, hello," and she's like, her expression is like, "Huh?" Question mark, and she's like super shocked and scared. Fucking Discaris, like I think Nox says she like gave her the fucking pincer grip to the back of the neck, and the little ghost flies out of her mouth. And
Yeah,
I like
it's just like the anime like karate chop to the back of the neck that immediately knocks you out. The Reaper chop in Soul Eater.
Yeah, and then Discaris, like there's just so much detail and stuff put into it. Like Discaris puts her foot on the handlebar and she's holding that shit. Like she knows exactly what she's doing. I like the character design for this chick though. Like inside of like she's got this this like armband around her arm, which I feel like once the chapter, like next chapter, we're gonna get a close up to it or whatever and see this girl and see like what her armband probably says. But then on her
that's
sleeve,
gonna be important later.
Yeah, inside her sleeve, there's like an embroidered design or something too that I'm actually just now noticing. Like her arm sleeve.
I just did peep that. There's a design on the interior of the fabric. Wow,
and that's like super cool. Maybe it's like reversible. Like she flips it on the other way, and it's like now she uses magic or something. So like this is her day job or whatever. Yeah, and then it's like, I flipped this bitch around and now I'm a boss magician or something. Some shit,
It's my day job, but at night, hold on.
Yeah, I'm interested to see more of her. I hope she is in some way a recurring character, even if it's just like us seeing the male a lot, like Big News Morgans or something. Like even if she shows up every 60 chapters to deliver mail, I'd be cool with it.
I think her design is a little bit too
unique.
Yeah, for her to be,
background character.
A background character to, at least to the degree that she only shows up like once every like few chapters to like drop some mail off. I think that she's
got a point.
I think she's gonna have a lot to do now that you bring up the design like that. Yeah, she's got a lot going on here.
Yeah, maybe she quits her job and it's like, I wanna get involved with this Ichi kid, and they're like, or maybe like when they next chapter opens up, and since they're already here, this head witch, I forget her name, Marigold, maybe she's about to send Ichi on a mission, and it's like, this mission kind of requires 3 people. Discaris, obviously you're going, but we don't really have anyone else. So since you're kind of here, what's her name, Kamugi? We're taking you off male duty today, and you're gonna kind of shadow this kid and make sure he does things right. And they send him on the 3-man mission or whatever. And the whole time she's just yes, the whole time she's just like, bro, this isn't my job. Like I can see it being like a thing where she's so stressed out, and her, she's remembering what was her prophecy thing. It's like, you're gonna get screwed over by here you go, watch your back. Yeah, my prophecy forecast for the day said to watch your back. And she's got like a bad omen, and so like her day just keeps getting worse. Her job is normally delivering the mail, and now she's like sent to the swamp of immortal alligators or some shit with Ichi in them. It's like, bro, this is not what I don't get paid enough for this.
So
that'd be ice water.
I'm more so theorizing that they need to keep her hush hush, and so they're just gonna keep her with them so they can keep an eye on her so she doesn't tell people there's a male witch.
True. Yeah. What if she just gets a promotion? Like, all right, you know too much, so we're swearing you in, and you're like big dog, so you gotta do shit. We're gonna give you a little bit of training, and you're going on missions.
Yeah.
You'll get paid more.
I just thought of something interesting.
What's that?
What if they use a spell on Ichi that in order to make sure, in order to help keep his secret, they cast a spell on him to make him look like a woman. That way, the secret doesn't go out. Kind of like a perception thing.
I could totally see that happening too. I feel like Japan loves to do that.
That's why they put him in the go-go boots.
Well, foreshadowing. Put him. Chekhov's go-go boots.
Go gadget boots.
But yeah, looks like we got really nice additions to the world building. The magic items are great. The Scarus was stealing the chapter as always, and we actually managed to get to the head witch so far, and like you said, maybe we'll get to see a mission, and we'll end up seeing the male girl to just be dragged along against her will.
You really think that Scarus stole the chapter, huh? It's crazy to that me. Yeah, no, for sure. And I can definitely see that. But like Ichi is just like so good for me in every chapter. I feel like he's so expressive and he's so charismatic, and he just has enough to do in every chapter that like it never feels like Descaris overshadows him to me. I feel like they're so perfectly balanced.
Yeah, but I'm a simp, so Descaris over him.
even Uroro, like they make sure like, hey, when's the last time Uroro's been on a panel? Throw that motherfucker in here so that it don't throw the balance off or whatever. It just feels like they just get it, and they know how often to put each one in the spotlight.
Uroro got one panel this chapter.
Yeah. And I'm not saying he needs to, be equal with like Ichi and Descaris. It's obviously those two.
Yeah.
And then Uroro, but it just feels like everything is just so thoroughly considered from like a storytelling perspective when it comes to, who gets how much screen time and what they do with it.
Yeah, these character like emotes and stuff are gonna bust when it gets animated though. Like all of Descaris' moments, and then the male girl like being surprised to see a guy up here, and just all of Ichi's fucking childlike wonder and all that shit. It's gonna go crazy when this shit gets animated.
Descaris' visual reactions are gonna get the Anya treatment, being used repeatedly on social media every goddamn day.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of memers.
Hopefully, them people that found the Anya. What is that, Spy Family manga? Yeah, hopefully those people don't come over here to the Ichi the Witch, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
All right. I think that's it for me. What about you, Knox?
Yeah, I'm good.
Greek?
I'm good. I said what I needed to.
Yato.
Yeah, I think exciting, fun chapter. I am ready for more, and we're almost at the end of a volume. We're 4 chapters in, 3 more to go. So something big might happen. First volumes usually end with a bang.
I'm thinking first major villain entrance at the end of the volume, but yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
As soon as that volume's announced, I'm pre-ordering it. I gotta start building my collection already.
Do that.
I absolutely have to have it.
That's mandatory. That's Mando for sure.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Yep. All right, so we'll move on to the next one. Next up, we got Astro Royale, chapter 23, titled "Distant Memories." Knox, what's your thoughts?
I loved this chapter, dude. I thought it was a remarkable chapter for Astro Royale. It was well paced. It was well presented. I think that the Kinpa writing and backstory for her parents was really well done. There's a lot of things going for it, storytelling wise, as far as the relationship, with with her parents, and the shocking nature of their death was like really well done. And they even tied it back to previous elements in the storytelling, reintroducing the weirdo like burnt faced policeman that arrested Tora. They brought him back in. It just feels like it gave me a sense of like, okay, this story is like really well planned out. You know what I mean? Like it's not just like flying by the seat of its pants, like trying to figure out what it is from chapter to chapter. Like Ken Wakui like understands the identity and direction of the series and is laying it out in like a very interesting and well done way, in my opinion. And this is a strong example of that with this chapter, in my opinion.
Yeah. One of the coolest things to me with this chapter is, most of the characters, we've gotten an explanation as to why they got the power they got. But for Kenpa, we just found out she could turn invisible. But this chapter elaborated on why invisibility is her power, and it's because she had to hide and watch her parents die.
Yeah.
And that's such a... Yeah, I think that's such a cool way to integrate the power with the character, and it just does so much more for me than the other power reveals.
Yeah. This is definitely like the strongest power to reason,
backstory
ratio
type
or
thing.
Whatever. Yeah, like that we've seen so far in the story. Like everything just makes so much sense about who Kenpa is and why she has the power that she does is phenomenal to me.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm going to skip ahead just because I do want to talk about this one panel at the very end, and then we can go back and talk about the story. But just the way that panel is set up, where he has his hand on Kenpa's back, and there's like the waves in the flashback. It's just such a cool way.
So nice.
And the way she's mimicking like her mother.
Yeah, compositionally, the presentation of like the panel where like the mirage like visage of the flashback missile ability from the lawyer chick and how it dissipates to reveal what's happening in real time versus what's happening in the flashback, and how like they kind of compare and contrast next to them in the art is just like so well done to me. I agree.
Yeah.
Like that is the best panel in the chapter and probably in the series so far.
It's definitely one of the top ones in the series, and like you get this really cool code look that Hibaru, he knows what the fuck needs to be done, and this is the like determined face that you get from a lot of main characters way later in the series. Like this
how Luffy looks at you when he's on timing,
or like this is how I felt when Gon was looking at like Pito or whatever, and it's like, bro, like it's serious, like this shit is real, like he is going to help you. This is his like putting the hat on Nami moment.
Exactly. I can hear the music now. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Nigga, stop it.
Copyright.
Oh Lord.
Come and get me.
They just axe our whole shit,
Fuck that. I'm suing.
But this Hibaru, he's definitely growing. Like to go back to kind of what you were saying earlier about the author knowing, Kamakui, he definitely knows what the fuck he's doing. He got this shit planned out, and he's doing a good job, man. I've been seeing a lot of people come around. At first, when the series first got announced, everyone was like, "Oh fuck, we know, Tokyo Revengers. We're not gonna let this terrorist trick us." And I've been slowly seeing a lot of people come around and change their mind and go like, he's actually cooking, bro. Go ahead.
Honestly, this was, with how people reacted to Astro Royale coming out, it was almost as bad as some people's reactions when like Hiromashi ended Fairy Tail and started Eden Zero. People were like comparing, the character designs are so unoriginal. Oh, he fucked up. He didn't do great with this ending. He's gonna fuck up this new story. It's not gonna be good, or it's gonna be the exact same shit.
And it's like you're low key telling it. Like that shit is so annoying to me because it's like, are you like really like communicating to everybody like confidently that like you like have like a very that you have very little experience with fiction? Because it's like I can't count on both of my hands and toes how many times I've experienced multiple works from the same author where one was like kind of bad, but then others were really good the whole time. And it's like, do you think that that's just impossible? Like if a writer, like wrote a story that like didn't do it for you in some regard, that they'll just never have a good work ever again because of one thing.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious?
It's always... It bothers me so much.
That's really what you're trying to say to us right now, like with your chest? Like, you're an idiot. I'm sorry.
Just by default, I'm excited whenever an author comes back. Like, even if they got axed or like I hated their shit, as soon as I see like this person's returning, I'm excited because it's like, bro, like they either cooked at first and are coming to cook again, or like they didn't cook as much as they wanted to or couldn't, due to maybe, not starting off strong enough, or maybe they just didn't have the story planned out well enough, or just got cut short. And it's like now they got something to prove. Now they're hungry because this is what pays their bills, bro. They're trying to get axed again. They're not coming back. Like their goal isn't to make a second. They're not coming out and like, I'm gonna make a second manga and waste everyone's time. Like no, they're trying to fucking feed their families. So give it a chance. Ken Wakui comes back and it's like, bro, do you really think he just wants to like draw stupid garbage and have it get axed in 19 chapters? Because you think Ken Wakui is ignorant to the fact that everything gets axed and jumped? You don't think he knows that? Like,
not to say that like certain authors don't have like glaring weaknesses that are consistent from series to series, because that can happen too. But like just off the top of my head, like for any comic book fans out there, you have like Jonathan Hickman is like a Western comic book writer that I like praise to high heaven like every chance that I fucking get. But then you have his indie comic series East of West that started out really strong and had a really good fucking run, and then the ending was just like personally not for me. But then this is also the same nigga that wrote the fucking Marvel saga from like 2008 to 2015 that culminated with Secret Wars, and that's like arguably the best fucking comic book saga of all time. And it's just like, let these niggas just do what they do, and it can hit or it cannot. You just have to see what the fuck happens. Trying to assume that someone can't perform on a certain level in their next work because of what happened in their previous work is ridiculous. Like, look at fucking Negi Haruba with quintessential quintuplets into Ranger Reject. Like, these are two series that like a lot of people are mind blown came from the same author. You never know what these things are what these people are going to do and what kind of stories they're going to tell. So trying to base like what you think they're capable of in a future series off of what they've done in the past is just like insane to me, that you can be so confident about criticisms like that. Like, read more things.
Another one that like that. Go ahead.
I have the perfect example for that, and it's Akira Hiramoto. Because how do you create Prison School, but yet you also created Me and the Devil Blues? Like, that is an insane transition.
Hold on, Prison School. You got me remembering things about
so
from that show. Hey, hold on, bro. Wait a minute. I'm glad that the camera's off right now. You know what I'm saying?
Can't see me rubbing this.
Oh my god! So you have Prison School, which is just straight gooner bait, and then you have Me and the Devil Blues, which is a story about Roy Johnson, a black musician who sold his soul to the devil, and it's a supernatural story involving that. And it goes.
Got a manga?
Yes,
getting picked up tonight.
It is.
What's it called?
Me and the Devil Blues.
Oh, I've heard of it.
It is not finished.
Let me add that to my app real quick. Hold on.
I'm actually not sure what happened to it. I know they stopped translating it, so it goes further than where it stops in English. But I'm not sure what happened.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
Damn, we could.
But for what you can read, it is amazing, and the art is just out of this world. Akira Hiramoto is built different.
Yeah, and that, just to add one more example, there's I don't remember the manga's name, but there's the guy that made I think it was called Hanebado. It was like a badminton series. He came back and he's doing like this high fantasy, or I don't know, I say high fantasy, but there's like dragons and shit, and it's like he went from badminton to this like medieval setting where like this girl lost her memories and her kingdom was completely destroyed, and she's like following this old man who I think can transform into a dragon, and the art is like fucking berserk tier, and it looks insane. It's called Reservin, RECERVIN.
Oh yeah, we was talking about that not too long ago. That's the shit about dragons and shit.
Yeah, it's got dragons and like this girl lost her kingdom, her family was slaughtered or something, and she's like wandering the land with this old man. She's like 10 and he's obviously like fucking 30s or 40s, and they're wandering together. I haven't read much of it, but like the dude made a badminton series before that, and it was like cute girls playing sports. It wasn't even, I don't even think they had guy main characters. I think it was just female badminton. It's like these mangaka, they can do a thing and have more ideas. Like their whole world doesn't revolve around their one initial series. But anyway, moving back into the chapter.
First, this is gonna bother me if I don't correct it, but it's not Roy Johnson, it's Robert Johnson.
Sure.
Okay.
Got him. But I really I got to go back to the chapter in the the earlier bits or whatever. I'm a real sucker for the family pages, man. Like whenever we see like a main character, like a character seeing like their mom, or like if the character that we're following in the story is like an older person and we're like learning about their kids or something, that shit always gets me. Even though I don't have any kids, I can just feel it, man. It hits.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this first page with Kinpo, she looks like Gina to me from Undead Unluck on that bottom. I know you have big dreams, but take care of yourself. I was like, is that Gina? And then her mom's
sure.
like, yeah, the panels with her mom like drooling, and you find out she like wasn't really asleep. She woke up when she got the blanket and she smiled. And this is little things like that make me smile. So this chapter got some smiles out of me.
Yeah, for sure. And like just going back to what you were saying about how like the family stuff like always hits for you, as somebody, with children myself, I definitely like resonated with the chapter for all of the ways that you would expect. So I'm there with you on that. But also I'm a really big fan of this theme of, scientists working together to, use their skills for progress in a an all like a wholesome, for the good of humanity kind of way, and this like greedy evil coming in to go, no, we need to use this for personal reasons to increase our wealth or increase our power or increase our influence. Like I just always think that that's such a amazing like evergreen theme to explore. Like that's always going to hit for me, and especially like because it's like the infinite energy kind of like idea. You know what I mean? You have like the arc light reactor in Iron Man. You have like, I feel like this has been done like so many times before, but it doesn't matter how many times that I see it. It's like if scientists are working on something that's going to improve humanity on like a progress level, and then like some entity comes in that's like, no, we're gonna use this for shitty things, bang bang, like that's always gonna slap to me. I don't know why, but like that's just evergreen to me.
It's a trope, it's a cliche, but my God, does it work, especially when you know how to utilize it.
Yeah.
That's why tropes and cliches aren't bad. We just gotta utilize them in the right way.
They're there for a reason. It's because they're tried and true.
Yeah, Ken Wakui knows what he's doing, and this backstory is really hitting. I really it makes me enjoy Kenpa a lot more. Like I was saying, I think in the last episode, I really love the name cards. Even the mom and dad get like this asteroid name card. Maybe not the mom, but the dad does. Kenpa's father, happy birthday, and it's got Kenpa's father Ichibo. Okay, I don't see hers, but like it's cool that everyone gets the like name card with the asteroid flying over it. It's a cool detail to remain consistent. But now that we know Kenpa's backstory and how she became a negator / an asteroid, I wonder what Rari's issue, what her deal was, because her thing is like a lipstick or whatever. Last chapter, she held out a lipstick and she's like, fucking shatter the time space or something. But like, I can't wait to find out what hers is, because like a lipstick thing, lipstick, and then it's firing like a missile, and then it's like telling the past, and it's it's I can't wait.
What we understand about the series so far allows us to, every time we're introduced to a new character, now that we have the information that we have about this series, we're going to know that they have a specific ability that's tied to a specific link, and we know that there's going to be some kind of writing that ties the two together, and it's something to look forward to in the narrative now moving forward, now that we have it established. And that's just like such a good thing to have going in your story, to keep us turning that page.
For sure.
We do know that for a
fact. So I'm going to assume that someone close to her, possibly a husband or something, gave her that lipstick and he was killed. Probably. I feel like that's going to be a big motivator. But her issue is that she can't let go of the past. Or maybe he just left her. But the fact that she can't let go of the past, and then her power turns into she can view the past, I feel like that would work out.
You could also like twist it to be like what happened to the person that was important to her, or relating to why she has that lipstick, could result in the fact of her wanting to see the past, being like she has no idea what happened in this specific point in her life, and she just wishes to God that she knew what happened. And so that's why she got that power to view the past, to get the details, to know how things have gone this way, or if there's someone responsible for these events, or so on and so forth.
Yeah,
I
like
think
suffering
that
amnesia.
Now that you bring it up, I don't know if this is weird or whatever, but I think it'd be dope if she like ended up being like gay and she had like a previous like female like wife like
That'd be
lover or
dope.
whatever, and it's like her like lipstick that
Yeah.
she's
I'm here
like
for it.
that she's
I mean,
like using
that
as
would
her
definitely
link
be
or
like
whatever.
would that be like a first in Weekly Shonen Jump also?
Probably. I don't think
Like
so,
open,
honestly. But
like for like part of the main cast, in part of the main cast, openly gay.
I don't.
I don't know.
I don't think so, but
think
I don't want to think too much on it.
Yeah.
Like I just don't feel like spending minutes on thinking. But I don't think so. But I think it could also be a case where it's just like, what if she just wanted to prove something? Like somebody she knew got murdered and she knew who did it, but she couldn't like prove it. And to her ability, she was like, I wish there was a way I could get this guy behind bars type shit. And it's like, oh, boom, ability manifests, and now you can replay this for the judge and to the police and shit. You can show everyone, your dad or your lover, or your husband, your wife getting murdered with this ability, and it's something that could be a thing.
That's fair because
tie to the fact that she's a lawyer too. Like,
yeah.
maybe a very important case she lost because no information around it. She couldn't prove anything, as though she just wished that she had the information that she would need to prove this person's innocence at the time. So could feed into that also.
That's fair because it doesn't have to be trauma that sparks their power. We know that already.
And actually, so that really could be a thing because in this chapter, when she finds out that the dude that took the daybreak ore is a cop, she's like, "What? He's a cop? Maybe the police took her evidence in a case. Like she had a case, down, and she was gonna, nail it, and her evidence went missing, and she found out like the police were involved and they like stole or swiped the evidence or something, and she lost the case, but then she got the ability so she could, never have that situation again. And she knows that these cops are dirty and they're involved. So she's like, what? He's a cop? You didn't tell me that shit.
Yeah, how does she? That's also like actually really interesting to me because how does she not know that Himuro is a cop? Like, did he just get this position that he's in when he arrests Tora? Like,
that's very
last
possible.
week or something like that.
Maybe. I mean, in this flashback, we did see that he was like seemingly like a government agent that was like sent to keep an eye on things.
That just seems like information that she would just already have.
Unless he's very good at covering his tracks.
Yeah.
That could be the case. I mean,
but I mean, like, how do you
shady
cover,
government
like, tracks
stuff
like that? Like, you're a lawyer, this dude's a cop. Like, you kind of like work like in relatively close proximity to each other. Like, how does that information?
True, but then again, there's also but like what happened, like you said, it might have just happened recently since Astro's our thing. It's been like well over 2 weeks. It was like a last minute thing. So obviously with communications, no one's really gonna understand.
From his original position, he fucked up in some kind of way that like knocked him down the ladder in like a significant regard. And then like once the Astro shit kind of came into play, he's like, hey, hold on, wait a minute, I got power now again. Like, give me a job. And they're like, all right, you can be a cop.
Yeah, because this flashback does take place like 10 years ago. So like
8 years.
What's his name? Hibaru is the one. The main character.
Hibaru, yeah.
Hibaru is the one that points it out. Like he's like, hey, that's the fucking cop dude. So like 8 years ago, he had this job, as like security or whatever at this lab, and now he's a cop, and she probably just didn't recognize him. He's like, hey, that's the dude, and she's like, wait, what? Like
he probably lost his security clearance after he boomed these parents, and like there's probably some kind of like dramatic writing like involved in, like people in his of his ilk that just like didn't fuck with that or something like that, and like found out
he just didn't like the Yakuza.
Like, bro, get your goof ass out of here. You out here fucking
definitely a personal grudge.
You're dome popping people's parents for like no reason. You're
they probably needed
the fuck out of our organization.
They probably needed a fall guy, somebody to take the blame. Like, the Yakuza are running this shit, and then they like he was in line, and the Yakuza fucked him over, but he was like on the team. But they was like, somebody got to take the blame, and it's gonna be your ass. But we'll get you a cushy position with the police or whatever, and you can still work for us
for a while, buddy.
You can still work for us, but you're not in the family. You just a fucking desk jockey or whatever,
pencil pusher.
Yeah.
Something else that I like about this chapter that's been being built up to ever since we started this section of the story is building up the mystery around the Yotsurugi family, its connections. Like right now, we learned that apparently like this site was not just run by the Yotsurugis, but also like in collaboration with the government. So some stuff's definitely like being built into that. We know that based off of what Shio said in the previous arc, that their family has some sort of connection to what happened with the Astros appearing. Might have to do, most likely has to do with like the what was the name of the whatever
Daybreak ore?
The Daybreak ore that we got in this chapter, and previously was shown that he stole. So these pieces are being put together. This is a mystery that Wakui is setting up, and we're already starting to get some sort of leads to a full-on answer. And I am very excited to see where this leads off on, because once we get more information from this section of the story, we're going to lead over to get Teru out of the police custody for all we know, figure out what's going on with that cop, and maybe build up something else to eventually figure out what's going on with Shio.
I was wondering. Go ahead.
My dumbass just realized that Himuro, the cop, has ice power.
Yeah.
So freeze.
But
you're under arrest.
Oh shit! Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
But what's also really interesting is that he also has like burn scars. So it's like
I was wondering how
the writing that like links those two, polar opposites together is gonna be kind of cool. I think.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that's gonna play out too.
Like I don't ever want to be burned again, so I need ice powers.
Yeah. Maybe they set him, like I said, they probably tried to make him take the fall, and like they set him in a burning building or some shit. Like you're gonna really take the fall for this, and
he's just like, I'm in this burning building. If only I had ice.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where they go, because I mean this plant, like they're here and they're viewing the past. It's not like there's a big bad guy waiting at the end of, the bad guys have already come. They won the race. They came and they took the Daybreak ore. There's nothing left for them here besides knowledge. But what do they do next? Do they storm the police precinct and go give us Terrazino or whatever, or do they go and find another sibling and stuff like that? I can't wait to see, like we were saying, where do we go next?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Nox, you got anything else?
I think I'm Gucci.
Weeb?
I think I'm good also.
Yato?
Yeah, I'm spent.
All right. Yeah, I'm good too. That's all for Astro Royale. Next up, we got Kagurabachi, chapter 51, titled Samura. Greek, start us off.
You gotta love a blind samurai, my dude.
Satoichi.
Yeah. But yeah, like this chapter, I love how it started off, because like with last chapter, we found out that Samura knew about Chihiro. He met him in person, and shows that he's like the only sword bearer that he has met, and it shows that they have some sort of connection. And this chapter deepens that here, showcasing that Samura is the one that taught Chihiro how to use a sword, which
that's
love.
Huge.
Deepens their connection, but also showcases how also shows how Chihiro has the skills to be a swordsman, because all we knew is that he was training to be a blacksmith with his father. But showing that he learned how to use a sword from Samura before the Heishaku came and killed his father, shows that he at least had the bare minimum, the basics down with Samura during those brief instances that he taught him how to use a sword. And so he just spent those years after the death of his father just honing his skills that he learned from Samura to the finest. And so this also, and what I would love to see, if Samura, because this flashback also gives us major Death Flag vibes with how badass he is and how he has a strong connection to the main character. And the fact that he also trained the other sword bearer that we have right now in this chapter as well. But if he somehow survives, I would love it if he trained Chihiro more to be like the best swordsman possible, because it shows that if Chihiro was trained over the course of years with Samura some way, somehow, he would be a force to be reckoned with. Even right now, he probably wouldn't have as hard a time, seeing as how Samura has taken on so many people, which is a regular sword.
I think the fact that, like you say, Samura has taught, Chihiro and Urahai, it really just goes to show that how skilled Samura is, because this man is blind, and he taught, just looking at how well Chihiro wields the blade, and the things that he is able to do, and the amount of people that he takes down confidently. It just goes to show that he was really, drilled. He learned the absolute, best that he could learn from this man, and this guy's blind. he taught him with no eyes, and it's really cool to find out that like he blinded himself. I guess
Dumbass.
it probably should have been obvious. Like I feel like when you see a blind swordsman, it's like if they got blinded in battle, it's probably like a horizontal slash or something, not like two very clean vertical
Parallel
lines over the
lines,
eye.
yeah.
He
Yeah, it's
blinded
like
himself.
yeah, it's clear that he did this himself, but I don't think anyone thought about it. It's just like, yeah, I just assumed it happened in like a battle or something, but nope, it's so that he could, get rid of his worldly passions and stuff like that. So bro don't watch porn, he don't smoke cigarettes or anything.
But he wants
could
to
just-
real bad.
Yeah.
He could just not do
read
that.
porn through
Yeah.
hearing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to Weeb's, like point that he kind of made, at the beginning of his opinion on the chapter or whatever. I just think that this chapter does so many things that are just so cool and so well done. Like in regard to Chihiro originally kind of being introduced as this kid who wanted to be an apprentice blacksmith to his father, and then suddenly flash forward to after his father's death, and he's just this badass black swordsman who is like wildly capable and stunting on like other advanced warriors, either in like sorcery or swordsmanship, etc., etc. It's like, how did he get there? And it's not just the fact that Samura trained him, but they also made sure to show another one of Samura's disciples get busy beforehand too. So you're like, holy shit, this Uruha guy is tight as fuck. Oh, Samura trained him too. Oh, and he taught Chihiro. Like all of the information coming like, one after another in that way just really helps to build the hype, and make it make more sense that, Chihiro is as capable as he is, as quickly as he is. And I just think I think that was really well done. Another thing that I really liked is how the flashback itself was structured. You know what I mean? Because it leads into the present time in a really cool way, as the conversation leads down into, Samura's got the fastest sword work I've ever known. It's worth seeing. Really? That guy? I'll show you. Boom, back into present time, and then he starts dancing on these niggas. And then it ties back to that flashback at the end where he's like, damn, so he is cold. You know what I mean? It was just so well done in so many ways, and I just love this chapter of Kagurabachi. It's easily one of my favorites in the series so far, just because of like how well everything flows together and like how many things are like thoroughly considered to present what was given to us.
Yeah,
for sure.
Can we talk about how he uses echolocation? Because it is
that too.
That's
so
cool.
Smooth. Like he doesn't tap on anything. He literally sheaths his blade,
Shushing.
and that's it. That's all he needs.
It's one of those things that made me like smack my forehead. Like, how have I never seen this before in fiction?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe it does exist somewhere else in fiction. I doubt it. But it's just like one of those things that I feel like Japanese writers are just so good at doing. Like introducing a concept that is so cool and fits so well for what it's doing, but seems so obvious that you wonder like how it hasn't been done before. I feel like you see that all the time, especially in the shonen manga.
I think I've seen somebody utilize echolocation, but I forgot where. I don't know if it was an anime or something, but I know someone was just doing like clicking noises.
Yeah, it's definitely not the first time we've seen, a blind character,
use echolocation.
Use echolocation in their.
It's just the way he did it.
It's the specific way of resheathing the blade and utilizing that clicking sound, that awesome, sound effect that all swordsmen get. When they use their swords and whatnot. It's like, oh, well, what if that was, the trigger for echolocation in a blind swordsman? That's just so unique and so cool and so genius to me. And on top of the, another thing that makes it unique is the fact that he blinded himself. And Yato was talking last episode about like how different of a blind swordsman Samura was for certain reasons. And this is just another one of those things that goes into his character that makes him, different than any other blind swordsman that we've seen, because how many other blind swordsmen specifically blinded themselves on purpose for reasons like this? There's just so much thought put into this character in such a short amount of time, and it's so well represented. Sorry, go ahead, Trappy.
The cherry on top for that is the fact that he uses like a quick draw.
Yeah, EI is always gas.
Yeah.
EI, like if you're like, you don't even have to be blind. If you're EI jutsu or Bato jutsu, either school, you're my favorite character in the entire story now.
It's a perfect combination for Samurai, and it makes his character extremely hype.
It's always gonna hit. I don't care how many times I see this character archetype. You got me.
Yeah, is always dope.
And with how it's used with Samura's echolocation is great. Like literally, he does like a quick tap with the sheath and the blade to get the echolocation. Quick EI slash to get whatever opponents are in the area. Sheath it once more in a quick succession. Keep doing the echolocation, but just repeated cycle.
Yeah, it's kind of like a machine that just keeps funneling.
Yeah.
Like he slices one guy, when he puts it back in, it's like, all right, I know where the next guy is, and they're just like, what the fuck is happening? It's
perfect.
It's like
it's actually genius.
It's skill over insane brute force,
and then
you love to see it.
Even the cigarette flick, like was he tracking the sound of like the sizzling or something, or like I guess the guy? No, he just heard the guy's like, how considerate he throws the cigarette at, probably like a fuck you.
That was just a flex emoji.
Yeah, just a flex.
Watch this, nigga. I'm John Wick with a samurai sword.
Yeah,
oops.
I love. Speaking of John Wick, like fucking Hokuzono is really like he gets this cinema shit, bro. Like this page where they pull up on him and it's like, Mr. Samura, what are you doing? And he's just standing there, bro. This looks straight. It looks like a Sakamoto Days page. Like when
I was
when
just
you
about
first,
to say it's
bro,
very reminiscent of that.
When you first like meet like Slurred, he's like standing like just by himself or some shit. His like cloak is blowing in the wind or whatever. But like this page when they first find him and he's like, I can't let you sacrifice your lives for mine. And then you fast forward, 2 pages, and then it's the after. So you skip the page with Hakuri and them talking about Samura. And you get back to the page where the monk dude is looking at these dudes who are looking at Samura, and Samura's in front of the Buddha, and you see the monk and he's like, okay, Samura's here. He's gonna take it, and like on the first the first panel is like this, the monk, he sees it. The second panel, he's like, Samura's got it. You see him walking away like these niggas are cooked, bro. Like in the background, like the dudes are standing there like, we about to jump this blind dude, but the monk just knows like Samura is gonna fuck him up. So he's going to go make tea or some shit or sit down. Is this him? Yeah, he's just going to go do something completely unrelated. Like it just felt like I was watching a fucking movie like John Wick or something.
He just gets it. Yeah, going back to your point that you made, like dude's like gotta be a cinephile for sure. And like I don't know how much of it is Sakamoto Days influence, or if he would have always made a manga like this regardless of Sakamoto Days, but just his understanding of like composition and like flow from panel to panel, like he understands that shit to like a very crazy degree and incorporates it into his art so well for such a young artist who hasn't really done anything before this. Like that's the one area of his art that really shines through everything. Yeah.
I think a final cherry on top for this chapter that would have been crazy to happen is if like the cigarette also produced like enough smoke and made like one guy who was like trying to hide, he coughed. And he's like, fuck, cigarette smokes. And then he found him.
He's like, where is that last motherfucker?
Gotcha.
And he like tossed the sword at him or some stupid shit.
Just like a grin, a panel, like a zoom in like panel of him like grinning, like got your goofy ass nigga. And then like another panel of like his feet like switching positions to like run towards the sound of the cough and then just slice.
He say like, I guess I'm getting rusty. I missed one or some shit.
Yeah. I also like how like after we got that awesome 2-page spread of him just decimating these sorcerers and him just saying, I guess I'm going to hell too, while in front of that Buddha statue. Transition back to end it off with like a brief flashback. It's like the aftermath of him teaching Chihiro that technique. And it just saying, Iai Purity Style Master, Seichi Samura, contracted owner of the Enchanted Blade, Tomemune. Is this the first time we got confirmation?
I think that's the first time we got.
What do you mean, the name?
The name and that it's him contracted to us.
Yeah, well, we knew he was contracted to us. So
I mean, like the specific blade.
Yeah. We didn't know so the first time we got the name of the blade is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that is the first time that we got that, and that's just I just wanted to say, like, even though we were just talking about how like he just like understands like movies and how to like create that exact same like vibe like in this medium, he also just understands like shonen cool. You know what I mean? Cool. Like you got 90s cool, you got shonen cool, and like this dude like really gets like honestly I could feel some 90s cool in this shit too. You know what I'm saying? Like dude is just on point when it comes to aura and like cinema and like so many things that I come to these shonen stories for. I can't stop gushing about this guy right now.
One thing,
shonen at its finest.
Yeah.
One thing that I saw somebody posted on Twitter, I'll have to find the thread, but it was a really, really good thread about Kagurabachi and how he doesn't do speed lines, but instead he shows you the motion that the characters make by having like cloaks and stuff. Like Chihiro's cloak is always flowing in a direction that shows you like all of the different like subtle motions and how he's doing the attacks. And Samura's doing it too on this page where he first chops the guy, like when he throws the cigarette and he slashes his face and his arm off. Samura's cloak is like in the, you know, blown up his back, so you know you get the idea of the type of motion that he's doing based on the cloak without like the need for speed lines to show like what direction he's going or coming from. You just feel it.
Yeah, you can tell that he's a way bigger fan of after the fact artwork than he is of like in the moment artwork. And like that is such a good thing for conveying the speed of the action and you know the impact of it as well. You know what I mean? Because like when you do it, when you lean more into the after the fact aspect in your art, it puts you, it's like better for immersion. Like I feel like I'm in this room and these things are happening around me rather than outside of this comic book turning a page and seeing what happens, if that makes sense.
It also kind of just perfectly fits the whole EI style with like you gotta showcase them putting that bitch back in the sheath. So it's like you're focusing on the after slash moment anyway. So it's like this is perfect.
Yeah. Oh man, what if next chapter starts with Chihiro sheathing his blade? Because we get like this episode just like focusing on the flashback and the fact that he was taught by Samura.
Oh, that's gonna tie into Chihiro's fight. He's like, "This one's for you, Samura. I finally mastered it." Bink. Yo.
That'd be perfect.
He throws those like paper cranes and he fucking slices them shits out with the fucking EI style.
Now that we brought it up at the beginning of the segment, I think I do agree that Samura is going to be the enchanted blade user on our side that does end up dying at the end of the segment. I definitely do think that the flags
it's got the death flags, man.
They had him do too much. They had him be too cool. And
he's the sensei.
They gave him too much pathos. Like there's just so many, like he's the sensei. Like there's just so many things going for, you know, him being the one that will die. And that's like pretty sad, but also like, I mean, somebody gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everybody can't go, but somebody do.
I told you these two are gonna survive, but in the time that you know they're fighting, the other two die, and so they lose access to two of the blades, and they get two of the blades.
Yeah,
that's
what would be
that.
interesting. What would be an interesting way to go about this is if, let's say, things seem to go their way. They manage to get the enchanted blades away from the Hishaku, but the Hishaku either kidnap Samura or they kill him, and thus, at that last moment, manage to get the blade back. Or they have the blade with the contract lifted, and but Samura is dead, and they have to find somebody else that could potentially get the contract and is compatible with the blade.
Yeah, I could see it being like a we won, but at what cost kind of conclusion.
Yeah, like they probably lost a perfect wielder for that sword.
Yeah.
I mean, the person that would wield it, they probably don't have him just going out on these missions. Like it'd be kind of silly to like send your presidential candidate out to murder the guy that he's, you know, taking succession over or whatever, you know, like.
True, unless like what Traffy said, the other Enchanted Blade wielders die off screen. And then the Hishaku end up having their sorcery abilities, plus people that wield these enchanted blades, and so you're gonna have to require other enchanted blade users or people on that level to actually fend them off, because it was really those enchanted blades that ended a whole war.
Yeah, and
were that powerful.
I still just can't wait to see that fucking flashback for that war and shit. Like that shit had to go crazy, bro.
Yeah.
That is if we get that flashback, because some things we might not get a full flashback, maybe like just like a brief snippet, just to sell us on what it is.
It's gonna.
It all depends on how. It all depends on how in depth we want to get into the flashback and how it deals with the current plotline of the story.
Did I talk about like how I liked the way that the flashback was structured?
Yeah,
going into the present time. I did.
You did, you did, nerd.
Oh shit! That's how you know it's getting late, and that's how you know I've been drinking. But nah, like I just like it's just cool that it's just not a flashback for the sake of being a flashback, but there's like, you know, a point related to the flow of the chapter that the flashback kind of like leads into. I just think this is so well done.
Those are the best chapter flashbacks.
This like beginning kind of reminds me of Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 0, where like they're on the roof and it's this dude can like clone himself and they're like fighting on a rooftop and there's like rooftops are exploding. It's like the guy that Gojo fought on the roof or whatever, you know. Yeah. And he was like cloning himself with a bag on his head.
Fights on the roof are always just tight as fuck, especially with like the pagoda style architecture. It's just like something about that like aesthetic and location that like really hits for me in any kind of fight.
Yeah, and the sorcery used even when not, you know, the blades are involved. Like they're using the like shingles from the roof to like grab this guy's leg, and then the other monk has this fucking big ass bell on a chain, and it's like, damn, these guys are really fucking bringing the moves out, but like he just overwhelmed them with bitches. Yeah, but the attrition, he just got too many clones or whatever. So it's dope. I don't want Samura to die, but I can see it, man. I'm sad. Yeah. He's so cool.
You're too used to Ranger Reject. Whenever a character in Ranger gets a flashback, it's an immediate death flag.
Oh, sure. I feel like that's a thing in a lot of stories.
Yeah, a lot of stories though.
Yeah, for sure. This probably one last thing that I had to say was fucking Hakuri. Like they're doing this like treatment on him, and he's got this like symbol on his forehead. I guess that's part of the girl's like sorcery or whatever. So it's probably some like chakra point acupuncture kind of deal going on.
Open your mind, your third eye.
Heal him up or whatever. But I'm ready for Urahara to show up, and I guess like because the Hishoku have the swords, so like we're not gonna get to see in current time. We're not gonna get to see Samura use Tobimune. So I'm really interested to see when Tobimune is gonna come into play. Because I guess he has the die so that someone can use it because he doesn't have it. It's not like it's not like Enten or whatever or Cloud Gods. You're like the owner of the sword isn't in possession of the sword. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
Hachi Bros unite.
Yeah.
All right. We got anything else, Knox?
I think I'm good. Oh, after Volume 4, we're at 900,000 copies in circulation, right?
Oh, yeah. Right before we started this segment, I forgot to bring it up. Kagurabachi, with only 4 volumes out, has over 900,000 copies in circulation, which is insane for a new manga.
Butterscotch,
yo. That is insane numbers.
Fuck no. Yeah, those numbers are crazy. It's only going to go up, man. It's a big front runner. They're finna put this shit on the cover of Jump pretty soon. Replace that Straw Hat fella.
No. Too soon for that.
Chill out.
It's hatting in you. Yeah, this last second to last page is really cool to me. I guess I'm going to hell too. And for a second I was like, what is this like white line going up the page? But I guess it's the smoke from the cigarette. But
I think it's like an incense or something, right? It's incense.
I think it's incense.
Yeah, because it's all Buddha-y.
Yeah. Well, it's coming from like the floor, not like
up
on that platform.
No, you're right. No, you're totally right.
He did light the cigarette before he started, so that's probably like the cigarette going out.
It finally fell on the ground after all of
bro. if that shit was in the air that whole time, that is nuts.
Let's go. Hold on. Wait. Let me go. So he flicks the cigarette on page 11. ///////// It is, bro. He did all of that before the cigarette hit the flow.
That's crazy.
We never saw the cigarette again.
Yeah, if we didn't see it, then we just got to go with the assumption that it never hit the flow.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
That's my reality.
Yeah.
Let's go with that for now. No indication saying that that's not the case.
Yeah, but Samura is too cool for school. Sorry, it's gonna be sad to see him go.
Rip the guy in advance.
Yeah, but I'm good. I got nothing else.
All right, you good? All right, so that's all for Kagurabachi Chapter 51. And that is all for Episode 2 of Shonen Pulse. Thank you all so much for joining us this episode. We highly appreciate the support for the first episode, and hope you continue to support us going forward. As a reminder, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. If you check the description, you'll find links to all of our YouTube channels and socials. Also, feel free to check us out over on TikTok, as we got our channel set up over there for the best moments from the podcast.